All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Consciously Curious, where we deep dive into those that are thriving in their passion. On today's episode, we are at La Casa de Chef Logan Sandoval, right?
Thanks, sir.
Oh, yeah. And to help me co-host and add some color to this conversation, part of this is
No
I
pun
love bringing great minds together.
Thank you.
He's returning, Justin Doggett from Kyoto Black.
And he brought me coffee.
He brought us some coffee.
Anyone that brings me coffee is golden in my book.
We're staying hydrated.
Yep, staying nice and hydrated.
Cheers. So welcome, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've been kind of going on a rant and side tangent. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get there. But where I want to start is how long, and you've been all over the country. So how long have you been doing the chef work for?
So I've been cooking so I turned 30 today. So I've been cooking for probably like 20 years. And that's a very loose like thing. I've been cooking for, I would say, 20 years. Been cooking, loosely for 15 and cooking professionally for probably like 10.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Total sense.
Yeah.
You cook for yourself first, like.
Yeah, you cook, and growing up in LA and having a single mother, and I hate telling the story because it's such a fucking cliche. I have my brother, single mother, mom works long hours. Y'all got to do something other than fucking ramen, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I actually have like my first like recipe card that I ever made that for my daughter's first birthday. My mom like laminated and gave to me, and I bawled like a fucking child because I thought it just like disappeared, and my mom had been holding on to it for
That's awesome.
eons,
Aww.
for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Man.
I got something for him.
Yeah, and she got laminated, and it's like in like it's in my like sixth grade like cursive writing, and it's all nice, and now my shit's all chicken scratch. You can't even like look at it. But yeah, so it started off as that, and it just evolved into something so much more. Because now, I've traveled around a lot. I worked for Hyatt for a long time. That's all I've ever known, the hotel company. And I've worked in, let's see if I can get this straight. So I started in LA. So I went from LA, Columbus, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Key West, Dallas, Texas, back to Louisville, Kentucky, Monterey, California, San Diego, California, Chicago, Illinois, and then now back to, so now I'm at 10.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's good shit, man. And in 10 years.
Very.
Nice.
Is there a word for the stateside version of worldly?
Nomadic.
Nomadic, yeah, I was
That's what
gonna
it
say,
is.
yeah,
You're very
nomadic,
nomadic.
yeah.
See, I love that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, and yeah, man, and the last couple moves haven't been our choice. When I was in Louisville, Kentucky, where my daughter was born and where I met my wife, we had Nalani, and then like a couple months later, I was just like, yo, we need to like dip out. And I don't know if you guys' like show gets like political or anything, but so Trump got elected.
Oh, yeah.
However you all feel about him, whatever. I get it. I don't get it. My father voted for him. It's okay. But after the 2016 election, shit got really, really weird in Kentucky. So Kentucky is a place where you're the gateway to the South. A lot of people fly that Confederate flag really, really, really hard.
Right.
And then like there's other people who are like me, who are just like, nah, y'all fucking out of your mind. So the big turning point to me was when my buddy Jerry Jing, shout out Jerry Jing, he's from Korea, immigrant, moved here when he was like 8 months old, like something ridiculous. He is American as you,
right.
me, her, as any of us, and martial arts instructor, served in the military, was in the Navy, was a medic, like used to like put people's body parts back together and shit in the Gulf War. Walked out to his, after Homeboy got elected, walked out to his car and was like, there was a, and you'll get it, man, there was a letter tucked underneath his fucking
oh no,
the windshield wiper, and it was like, go home, Gook.
Yeah, what a coward, though.
Right?
Like, you
right?
can't even tell him man to his face.
Well,
like, if you want to hate on him, like...
And also, I mean, he's a martial arts instructor, so, like,
Yeah,
probably don't
it's
want to fuck
like,
that. You don't want that smoke, you know? But with my wife being Chinese, me being Hawaiian Japanese, with the last name Sandoval, I was just like, yo, this
You're
is
like,
like...
bounce.
And, like, it wasn't like I was scared for anybody. I was like, this isn't the part of the country that I'm, like,
Yeah.
comfortable with. You know,
Yeah.
and, you know, we would go down to Bowling Green, or we'd go to, like, the quarry and stuff, and those dudes would, like, flag that flag high, you know?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's not, you know... I don't know if they know what it means, but it's like, fuck, dude, like, that's like, you might as well like slap a swastika on your forehead. Like it's really true. I mean, really, truly, man. That's something that like
I want to think that they just want to be part of something bigger than themselves.
well, then get something better than that.
Right.
Join a fucking knitting club or something, a book club. Fuck,
Yeah.
dude, you don't have to fly the fucking.
I just wonder sometimes because I mean that flag, if I'm not mistaken, is a part of some state flags. Like, isn't that a part of the Mississippi flag?
and they're still trying to like diverse that
yeah,
out.
right.
Mm.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
the Hawaiian flag still has like the fucking Union Jack on it.
Right,
The
right.
place that like occupied all the islands for a long fucking time.
So I wonder, like, you know, what is the motivation? Because I mean, I've like kind of I try to deep dive into these things.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
find
sure.
like, oh man, there are like organizations of people who are descendants of Confederate soldiers who fought in the Civil War. And I'm, you know, and they're like, oh, you know, this is like Southern pride and this is like honoring our ancestors, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, I don't know where it actually cuts in, you know, legitimacy in terms of, okay, you know, we're doing this because we're racist versus we're doing this because it's our heritage.
Right.
But I do know that like there is some like overt actions that people take that are just way
for
too
sure.
far. Like, you know, putting signs on people's cars or just like being confrontational with another person because of the way they look.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, and I'm here to tell you, man. I mean, you don't see a lot of German people flying the Nazi flag.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's what I kind of like, you know, not, and literally not to get off on.
No, I hear you
like,
though. I hear you. I hear you
side
though. Yeah, I mean, you don't, and like, but you know what actually gets me though is you do see a lot of people flying that communist flag, and that bothers me a lot.
Man, that's a different world for a different culture.
Yeah.
And especially like, you know, with my little girl being Chinese and like my mother-in-law being from Hong Kong and stuff, and especially with the shit that's going on over there right now, it's insane to kind of see how people like boil down to their roots and who really people kind of are sometimes. And it's wild shit going on in Hong Kong. There's wild shit going around the fucking world. you know?
Actually, speaking of flags, like, did you see in Hong Kong they're actually flying American flags at the protests in Hong Kong?
Oh,
Give
wow.
us
Yeah.
democracy.
Yeah.
Give us democracy.
Yeah, they're waving the American flag at.
Anna follows it really closely.
Yeah.
So
So
obviously-
she's
big-
got family there, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
big picture, we still have it really well here.
We do,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm the first. I don't know if you guys see my Instagram, but I am the biggest freedom fighter, keyboard freedom fighter on the face of the planet. You know, but no, like we do have it really good here. The fact that like, you know, I can raise my daughter the way she wants to. One of the biggest fights I got into with my father-in-law, he was like, you know, when's she getting baptized? I'm like, she's not. And he was like, what? Like, nah, she's not getting baptized.
My buddy, his daughter, or son was just born like maybe 2 weeks ago. And his in-laws were like, wait, you're circumcising?
yeah. I mean, that's real, dude. Shit, we don't think about
It's crazy, yeah.
There's stuff we don't think about every day. you know?
Everything's up for grabs now.
It really is, because
yeah.
then stuff turns into stuff that it shouldn't be, and
It
people
shouldn't because
take it-
Well, people act like everything's a package deal. It's like you
Yeah.
can't just do like the one thing that you want to do
Just
in
take what you
isolation.
want, yeah.
You can like
Yeah.
it's life is a la carte. Like you can just kind of pick what you like from it and then just incorporate that into your own being.
That's what makes you.
That's why I like Japan, honestly. That's like one of the reasons because they like keep it real. Like they will pray and go to all these temples and pray to fertility gods and all kinds of stuff. Like,
But
so
bro, you watching hentai on the weekends? That's cool too.
that's actually
whatever
yes,
you want to
yeah.
do,
Like
whatever you want to fucking do.
yo,
bro.
they're super open about everything. Like you can go into 7-Eleven, grab a porno mag and just read it. Like just read it out and no one cares. Like they're like, do you?
Man, dude, like I read a lot of comic books and I read a lot of like deep, dark, diving comic books, but like some of that manga will make me blush. Like I'm not here to fucking lie.
Yeah. It gets crazy. But you know, people act like if you believe X and Y, you must believe Z as well.
Right.
And they try to
yeah.
like just lump you into these package deals of like you know, ideologies and behaviors and stuff. And I'm like, hey man, I just kind of see what's out there and I get a little
Yeah.
taste of this and that. And I just kind of put it
Yeah.
together in a way that's like, it makes sense in a way that's fair to other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be unfair to
Exactly.
other people.
Well, that's a good point too, because you can't. I mean, everyone has their own outlooks, and like just because, you know, my father-in-law wanted my daughter christened, or that's what they call it, christened, whatever. But
Yeah.
also at the same time, you see how big my gauges are. I like when Nalani was born, I wouldn't get Nalani's ears pierced because that needs to be her choice.
That's her choice, yeah.
That's her choice. If she wants to go her whole life and not get her ears pierced, then that's fucking her choice. I have these stones hanging out of my face. I'm down with that. That's what my choice was. But if she wants to, like, you know, go to Bible school and she wants to be Catholic or she wants to be Christian or she wants to be Jewish, more power to her. We are, as a family, and because our family has been so eclectic and been so intense, like, why not let your kid, and I'm telling this to you too, man, like, why not let your kid just do what they want to do, and especially as a young woman, because in this day and age, you need to let these young ladies choose what they're gonna do, and not put them in situations. And it's the same reason why, like, you know, I asked Nolani for a kiss. She doesn't want to give me a kiss, then I'm not. That's fine. That's fucking fine.
That's fine.
As her
set those boundaries.
As her father, right? Because, you know, there's a lot of horror stories. There's a lot of really bad stories that we won't get into, but you know, with families and stuff. And you know, if my daughter doesn't want to kiss me at the end of the night, that is perfectly fine. Yeah, she can make her own choice. She doesn't want to give me a hug in the morning. She wants mom to take her to the bathroom and not me. That is perfectly fucking fine, because you need to make your own choices. You need to develop that own culture in your own head of what you want to do. If you want to get your ears pierced, if you want to get tattoos, if you want to get, like, you know, if you want to stretch your earlobes to the ground, if you want to get fucking tattoos up your face, if you want to get a, you know, a surgery that makes you a man, that is your choice. And I am not here to tell you no. Once again, not to
no, I agree, man. I agree. Absolutely. I agree. It's interesting, like, you know, becoming a parent, like the whole idea of what fathering a person is going to be like. It really makes you think a lot about your responsibilities,
your values too,
your values, and then like what you want to impart through lessons versus what you want to impart through examples,
and how you how you go about doing that.
Because it's like, I know for a fact that I can't preach everything. I have to, like, actually practice the majority of what my daughter is going to learn from me.
And I mean, you can't be that person of, like, you know, do as I say, not as I do. You know, like,
that is not the person.
Because we're all 30-ish. You know, we all grew up like that. Like, dude, like, my mom would be like, practice, like, she was not about practice what you preach. My mom was literally like, do what I say, not what I do.
I'm more like, you can do as I do, but you'll get what I got. And if that's what you want, that's fine. But if that's not what you want, then don't do what I do.
Do you write these things down?
You should.
It's like, you know,
the philosopher Justin.
Like, that's, you know,
man, coffee ain't the only thing.
I know.
Like, that's, you know, because it's funny. Like, when I was talking to some buddies about this before, I was at Metropolitan Brewing. Shout out Metropolitan Brewing, because they are the best people ever.
Better than Kyoto?
What's up?
Better than Kyoto?
I'm sorry, what is that?
Cairo?
Better than Kyoto?
Oh.
Well, they use my coffee in their beers.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so
Oh, it's a beer. Okay.
No. So basically we were hashing it up. We were trying the new collaboration beer, which you got to go try. It's a new Oktoberfest. It's amazing.
Oh, okay.
It's got Colombian coffee in there. It's got like notes of tiramisu. Really awesome.
Selfless promotion.
Yeah, right. But in any case, though, we were jamming and talking about philosophy.
Hell yeah, man.
And how, like, I can't read fiction, for example. That's like one thing about me. Like, if I open like Harry Potter or whatever, I cannot read.
There's lessons in Harry Potter.
There's lessons for sure.
Remind me real quick. Nonfiction is the real shit, right?
Exactly.
Okay. No,
yeah. No, it's like,
sorry.
Use the heuristic to, like.
We're here to get educated.
Yeah. I just don't want to sound silly.
But in any case, though, I don't have an appetite for reading fiction. I can consume like a TV show or a manga or something like that, graphic novel. Man. But when it comes to reading like a full-out book of fiction, no, thank you. But
I got bookshelves, dog. Dude, but take your pick.
It's so funny though. But I can read the most like esoteric philosophy and not fall asleep.
Oh.
Like, I'll read Nietzsche and like just be totally into it.
I was just about to ask if like that, because that's like how everyone like that's the first part everyone like talks about. Do you read anyone else?
Man, I read everybody. I literally
appreciate
read
that,
everybody.
man.
Yes.
It's something like that I've been trying to like get more into, and like my buddy Blake, who came out and stayed with us. Mind you, Full Blown Vegan is all about like, you know, animal human relations, which we'll get into later when we start talking about like Kentucky and stuff. And but like a lot of stuff he talks about, you know, like with philosophy and learning the mind, like there's this thing that at least in my group of people we call the mind's eye. You know, and it sounds really like super silly, like, you know,
Illuminati.
No, oh god, that was the fucking Illuminati. No, but it's not. But it's just like having that. How do you put it, man?
Third eye. The third eye.
Yeah, it's just
that, like that sight beyond sight. The sort of moments.
Almost like more of awareness. That's actually a really good word to like put on. More of awareness towards like, you know, people, things, people, and things. But just like having more awareness towards everything around you, to people's like reactions, to people's like intensity or like not intensity, and that's the same thing that goes into animals, everything else around you. Like, it's also, you know, like Japanese, like Kyoto and stuff, like talking about Shintoism and that kind of thing, with everything having a kami. You know, there's so much more to it than we have any realization to. If that makes sense.
It absolutely does.
You know, because
it's one of those things that can sound a little hokey.
It does.
But like, The more you go through life, the more you just go like, okay, yeah, that's not just something people say. It's actually there's something to it. You know,
Right.
there is a real connectedness. Like,
Absolutely. And I was, for a long time, I was a really, really, really big proponent for, like, you know, like, there's no such thing as fate. I'm a big believer in, like, you know, you make your future, you make your time, you make whatever. The choices that you make reflect every single day of your future.
Yeah.
But the older I get, the more I see, the more I travel, the more, like, places I go to, I see more and more things, like, falling into line. And it's harder to kind of, like, believe in that mindset.
Really?
If that makes sense, you know, because there's been places where I've been at, and there's things that I've done, and there's things that like literally just like fallen into my lap, where I'm just like, I don't know how we got here. Like I don't know how this happened. You know, like with this like Monterey thing, or even like coming out here to Chicago. You know, I feel as though.
But like you wouldn't have been ready for it had you not been where you were, right? Like all these experiences kind of, in a way, indirectly led up to this point. Like the opportunity presented itself, and you were ready for it.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point too. Where, yeah, man. I mean, you build yourself up to it. Like I'm a strong believer in like you're not ready. If you're not ready for something, it's not gonna come to you. Whether it's fate, whether it's yourself or anything, like you need to be very like aware of your like level. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
in our
absolutely.
family, we talk a lot about like levels and stuff. Like, you know, you have like a bottom level where like Nalani is, you know, she just wants, you know, fucking fried chicken and french fries. You know, my wife just doesn't want to live in Chicago anymore. I am trying to get to a level where I don't have to like kill myself, and I just want to like smoke meats and, you know, fried chicken and that kind of thing. So you build your levels, and once again, it's gonna sound hokey, but it's like, you know, like it's evolving. It's Pokemon. It's fucking like every other video game we all played as like kids. You know, you get to that point where you're developing yourself. You get that XP. That's super out. Yeah. But you get that XP. You get that to that point where like, I feel as though if you're not ready for something in your life, it's not gonna come to you. But if you are ready,
Well, how sad would it be if it was presented to you and you weren't ready?
but that's how you know, people talk about like, you know, wrong place, wrong time. You know, like wrong relationship, wrong time in life. You know, that's when those things happen. And that's when it gets like super deep, where you need to prepare yourself for each one of those interactions with every single person you ever meet, right? And that's like you developing yourself in every interaction you have with every person. And just like we were talking over text, where you are creating a product. Everyone's creating a product at the end of the day, especially now with social media, Instagram. You know, even doing this like offer up shit, trying to like sell all this stuff. It's like you are creating a persona and like a mythos behind yourself to sell these things, to do these things. You know, Zeph Barbecue, Chef Hatco, like these things, people don't know my buddy Fred. People don't know me, but they know Zeph Barbecue. Like they know that like I smoke hella meats, but they don't know like, you know, the struggle or what I do, or like the fact that I cook for fucking like 4,000 people every fucking day.
Yeah, but you do show a lot of behind the scenes.
I do, and I obviously we all got to do our research. We all look at our like, you know, competitors, you know, blah blah blah. But I see people are very like, you know, people want to do like tutorial videos, but why not see like the garbage? Like why not see like the fucking bullshit? You know? You know, like it sucks cleaning out a fucking smoker. Like it does.
but it's important to know how to do it so it can have longevity, and it's like,
Justin knows.
God,
dude, I know what's up. Like,
man, feeling you, bro.
Dude, for real, because the dirt, the weeds of it all, like the shit that you get your knees skint up on, that's where you really.
But it matters.
It
When
matters.
you have like dirty lions serving coffee, like that matters.
It not only does it matter, that's secretly what everyone's looking for, because that's where all the struggle is. That's where all the hardship. That's where
the
all
connoisseurs, that's what they look for.
You know, that's where the people who are like, why can't I fucking get life together? That's what they're looking for, because they don't know how to clean the grill. They don't know how to do the shit that sucks. The shit that sucks is what get you there.
I mean, it's a perfect example. Like, so now in this day and age, like we were just talking about, like everyone knows how to sous vide. That's a big thing. Everyone knows like this, that, and the other thing about like, you know, home cooking. You got Blue Apron, you got all this other bullshit. Yeah, but like, you know, like bake me some fucking bread. Fry me some chicken. Make me some collard greens. Make me ramen. Boil bones for fucking 3 days. Like do the dirt. Like get in there. Fuck. And that's the thing with like smoking meats. Smoking meats is a very, very hardcore labor of love. Like tomorrow when I wake up for my birthday to make these fucking ribs, I gotta get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And just to start the fire, just to make sure the fire is right, just to make sure the fire is burning correctly, to make sure the fucking like the chamber is seasoned right. It's just, I mean, tomorrow's gonna be a little bit different because we got the, you know, the 2.0 up in this bitch.
Oh.
We got the extended on the smokestack. We got new fucking thermometers, you know. But
he's like slowly convincing me like you have to come tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
He's like
come tomorrow.
building it up. I'm like, oh god, this sounds like
it's probably not. It's not even gonna be like that big. It's gonna be like me and my kid and like my cousin, just like, what's up, bro?
And it's still gonna blow you away.
yeah, I know, right?
Well, and that's what I try to do, man. And
Yeah.
just like with shmeal and stuff, like, dude, like the feedback I get on shmeal, and like not to like jump around or like I don't know if we want to like keep a straight line, but like with shmeal, it's like, man, like the feedback and the interaction I get is 110 times more valuable than what I get like at work.
Can you break down what shmeal is real quick?
So shmeal, shout out Craig, I love you. So this dude Craig reached out to me on Instagram, and he had God knows how he found me on Instagram, and he had seen that I was doing like smoked meats on my days off and like this, that, and other thing, and so he reached out to me. He's like, hey, do you want to make money? And I was like, fuck, man, like, don't we fucking all? Yeah, like, that's this guy right here. And he was like, why
He's like, you mean counterfeiting? Like what?
are we laundering money?
What are
Do you
talking
want to
about
sell drugs? Is that what we're doing? But no, he was just like, yo, like I created this app. It's a great thing. It's only in Chicago, but we sell home cooked meals out of the front door at like $8 a pop. You get $7 out of it. I was just like, man. And so I started doing the research. I started looking into it, and like there was these people doing like, you know, like 3 or 4 meals a day, you know, whatever. So like when I started doing the shmeal thing, I was like, nah, fuck that. Like I'm gonna sell 20. I'm gonna sell fucking 25. You know, because that's what like my training is. That's what I'm built for.
Yeah.
And so like when I started doing it, I was like, well, fucking what better? Like what can't people get? And the cool thing about shmeal is that there's people out there that are doing like vegan meals. They're doing halal meals. They're doing, you know, kosher meals, like shit that's tuned into like different cultures and like different, like you
it's homemade.
Yeah, and you just can't like walk into the front door of some restaurant and get that. So what's cool about shmeal is the fact that you can get these meals literally cooked by people who were learning this shit from their grandmas, from their nonas, from their fucking, you know,
Yeah.
all those people, and get it out the fucking front door. And that's what's really, really cool about shmeal. And like, they're not paying me or nothing. I just think fucking shmeals are really, 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 really cool. And Craig's a really great guy, the co-founder. They just do really, really cool shit, and it's really exciting for Chicago. But like my view on shmeal was like, yo, like I'm trying to just like make like beer money, you know, because I was already smoking meats on my days off because it was something that I wanted to learn more about, but it was just something that like I had a really weird passion for. It was just something that, you know, smoked meats is a labor. It's a very hard labor of love. It's a very, very savage labor, especially when you're doing brisket or ribs or like, you know, quarter cows and stuff. And that harks back to like my time in Kentucky when I started meeting farmers and I started meeting ranchers, and we really created these like relationships that I'll hold with me for the rest of my life. And so like I try to bring that over into shmeal, where on my days off I was cooking ribs, I was cooking brisket, and we just had leftovers a month. And like I would just vacuum seal it and freeze it, and we would eat it for like the next like, you know, 2 or 3 weeks. But now it's like, you know, like I can shovel this shit off onto people, you know, and these people, and they fucking love it.
Yeah.
They fucking love it.
That's amazing.
Man.
Well, they should. I mean,
And like in working for a hotel the size that I work for, it's cool and it's great, and you know, we get good feedback, and like we get the medallia scores and we get all that stuff, and it's awesome. But like to literally see comments from people, and like I've gotten 3 catering gigs now out of shmeal, which is like they're just like, yo, just like come smoke meats. I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. You know,
Your name is now your brand. You know that, right?
I know, and it's something I'm trying to dial in right now, and I'm something I'm trying to like figure out in my life. Where
what do you mean when you say that? Just the
He's developing his own personal brand. He's
Yeah.
not behind Hyatt anymore.
gotcha.
Right.
So
Right.
so you're saying like his
Right
name is
now,
his brand.
now people should start
Yeah.
associating his name
Right,
and
right,
face
right,
to his smoked
right.
meats.
yeah, to like Zeph Barbecue, and you know, and that's also something in the works. And like we talked about Zeph earlier and stuff, but it's like it's something I feel very strongly about. It's something I'm very passionate about because smoked meats is it's a strong labor of love, man. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of just like ingenuity, obviously, you know, because the shit that I've built onto the smoker, you have to know what you're doing to get to that point. You know, like, yeah, people are throwing shit in Traegers, and like I'm not trying to like sit here and bash Traegers. Whatever.
I'm glad you brought up Traeger because that's like everybody's talking about Traeger right now. There's like that hype train that woo, woo, like
Hashtag fuck them pellets.
yeah, I was like, wait, pellets? What?
Yeah, fuck them pellets. No, I mean, and there's nothing, and there's for your weekend warrior, for your home cook, for your nonna, your grandma, your mom, your dad, whatever. Like Traegers are dope. Like it really is.
It takes the hard work out of it.
It takes the 5 a.m. out of it.
Yeah.
You can literally, and like the Traegers come with like the probe that connects to your fucking phone, that connects to like
The thermometer. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like when you put the meat on, and like you see the three thermometers
Right,
here,
right,
like
right,
so I know where the temperatures are at in the chamber.
Right.
Like I build the fire here, it sucks smoke in. That's why I have a huge smokestack, because then the wind rolls through, and the wind naturally pulls it through because of the way the chamber's shaped.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the same thing with roasting coffee beans. The same thing with like building fires and stuff. But with the Traeger, it's just like, you know, it's literally like set it and forget it. I call them like easy bake ovens, because there's, like I said, the weekend warriors, those people are doing that kind of thing, and it's great. The fact that we're getting more publicity and more push towards smoked meats is a great thing, because I feel like everyone should know how to cook with fire. And that's gonna sound like hella weird being in this time and age where it's like, you know, Uber Eats, and that's why like I'm so fucking behind shmeal too, because shmeal, you're getting home cooked meals. Like you were getting the same meal that people would cook for their families, you're getting out the back door. And it's great. And like, don't get me wrong, like $7 ain't a lot of money. It's really not. And especially like when you factor in food costs, and like, you know, if you want to take in
Food
consideration,
is expensive, man.
fuck yeah, it is. And if you want to get good food,
It's really
that's the thing, man. I ain't going.
What if you went to you would go to the butcher shop?
Fuck yeah, I do, man.
Oh, okay.
Fucking
There you
shout
go.
out Mercados. Yeah, Tango Sir.
Yeah. And they're basically getting a part of your deal, you know, because you're like you'll get a hookup with like, you know, a person you know who's a butcher, like, hey, you know, I'm getting X amount of pounds of meat, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They get to tack on to that, you know. I heard that the guaranteed way to eat healthy is to make sure that there's a human cooking your food. Because if it's not made by a person, it's gonna be loaded up with salt. It's gonna be loaded up with all kinds of oils that are bad for you.
That's just made by machines, man.
You know?
I mean, that's the same. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love a Whopper. I love a fuck. I'm not, and like as a professional
Chicken sandwich.
Yeah, dude. The pop.
Bro, I was the early adopter of that chicken sandwich, by the way.
I know, before the fucking wave.
Bro,
I
Dude,
know.
before the hype, like a month before the hype, I was letting them know. I was like, dude, get that fucking chicken sandwich now.
Fuck y'all's couches. I was going to this Popeyes right here.
Me too.
Getting fucking chicken sandwiches.
Me too, dude.
Because not to be on, you know, the Roost. Roost makes really good fried chicken, but their fried chicken sandwich sucks, and the only reason it sucks is because they don't toast their buns.
That's it.
That's really
That's
it,
it.
man.
That's
That's
it.
all it fucking has to do.
Yeah.
And I've left Yelp reviews. I've written emails.
toast
Like,
it.
just toast your fucking
Toast it.
buns,
Yeah,
man.
that's such a crucial part of it. So,
Their fried chicken, I mean, the Roost does fucking God's work, man.
yo, I just want to let people know that there is levels to. Now that I'm like able to officially say this on record, there are levels to the Popeye chicken sandwich when it's back in stock. Do not get it with the mayonnaise on it, okay? Just get it with pickles and
Pickles,
then put
bread.
hot sauce on it.
Yeah, that's all you fucking
That's
need,
all
man.
you have to do. If you put the mayonnaise on it, you ruined the sandwich. I'm sorry.
Because you got, I mean, harking back to like, you know, the history of like, you know, Zep Barbie, Hawaiian, whatever. So I lived in Kentucky for 4 years, and I moved down there in 2013, and I was there to 2017. I got in a little trouble with the law, had to stay there, couldn't leave the state. So like, there's a lot of chefs that talk about having their bones made in like, you know, Paris. There's a lot of chefs that talk about like we do it, like my bones were made in San Francisco. I trained in fucking Chicago. I trained in like New York. Nah, dog, like my bones were made in fucking Louisville, Kentucky. And there's not a lot of people that can say that. So my big like reason why I love smoked meats and the reason why I like that type of food is when I was living in Louisville, Kentucky, you know, I'd only been living in the Midwest for a year and a half, like fresh out of LA, just like, you know, literally looking the way I look right now, you know. And so we got this chicken recipe, and they just reconcepted the restaurant, and we got this fried chicken recipe from this dude, Melvin. Melvin was the cafeteria cook. Dude was like, when I met, I mean, rest in peace, he's dead now, but when I met him, he was like 81, right? And when we got his recipe, he was telling me that he had gotten it from his mother, who had gotten it from his grandmother, who had moved here from South Carolina and who had moved out of the slave trade to like escape, like to get out. Because you got to remember, for as much as like we were just talking about like the flags and stuff, Kentucky was a fucking northern state. I'm here to tell you. As the gateway to the South, it was fucking blue. It was blue, right? Blue was, yeah,
yes.
blue. It was blue as fucking the day is long, man. And so that's where people get a lot of misconceptions. But it still is the gateway to the South. And then you hit like, you know, everything else. You get Georgia, you get like Alabama, you get all those like deep, deep states. But talking to this guy Melvin and really taking into consideration, really appreciating what he's giving to you, it took a lot out of me, man. It took a lot of conversations and like to him to kind of just like let it go. And I asked him a fucking million times, man, do you want money? Do you want to be, because we were fucking, well, like I'll crescendo into this other conversation, but I was like, do you want to get paid for? He's like, no, I'm just trying to pass it on. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to give the things that were given to me to someone else. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you're fucking black, if you're white, if you're Hawaiian, if you're Chinese. It doesn't.
Just respect it.
Just respect it. And like I have carried that recipe my entire fucking life. And in 2015 and 2016, I won back-to-back championship of fried chicken in Kentucky against the fucking Colonel, against fucking Popeyes, against like 18 other fucking restaurants. And I still have that shit hanging in my fucking apartment. Mm-hmm. Because that shit's more important to me than the, you know, the stages, the Michelin star work. You know, I work for at Stoneflower right now, which is great. It's awesome. We sous vide a lot of stuff. I fucking cook for 4,000, 5,000 people every fucking day. But there's certain recipes and there's certain things that are given to you. You need to respect and you need to cherish that. You need to love it. You need to love it. Mm-hmm. And not make it better, because there's certain ways we can make it better. There's certain things we can do with it. But that fried chicken recipe to me is immensely more than a lot of the other things that I've picked up in my time as a chef. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy when people talk about that, because everyone asks the chef, like, you know, the same question. Oh, you know, like, what would, yeah, I mean, how many, like, would you want to open up a restaurant on the beach? Would you want to, like, use tweezers or foam? Like, nah, dog, like, I'm trying to smoke fucking meats and fucking fried chicken. Yeah. I'm trying to make collard greens and fucking mashed potatoes, you know, because that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I like cooking. You know, so it's a very weird, like, spectrum with, you know, having that Michelin star training and having that, like, classical training, but then just being like, yo, like, I just really like fucking frying chicken. Yeah. And one of the things that made it important to me was, so every Sunday, and it started only as like a couple ladies, right? And these like older black women would come in after church, and they would be dressed literally head to toe into like their Sunday best, and it was nice great.
Nice hats.
Yeah, and dude, in Kentucky, the hat game
is on a different level,
bro.
Hats,
it is
like balls on them.
It is insane. Some of those hats are like fucking thousands of dollars, man.
Yeah, man, the hat game is a whole. Yeah, I bet there's a whole subculture of just flipping hats.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure, because during the Derby, when we be down there, man, dude, those hats that were sold in the lobby and the Hyatt were, dude, $2,000, $3,000, man. It's insane.
The hat game's crazy,
man. If you guys can ever make it down to Louisville, I know it doesn't sound like anything, but
I'm interested.
Louisville's fucking cool, man. It's a really, really cool place. I mean, my daughter will always and forever be from there because she was born at U of L fucking University. You know, my daughter's from Kentucky and will always be from Kentucky. But we started, you know, it just started this thing on Sunday. So in the chef's world, I would get like my fresh chicken like Monday morning. So Sundays were like the big push to like get rid of, like, I hate to say it, but like the old chicken. Mm-hmm. Like, you're sitting on like, you know, 15, 20, 30 pounds of like, you know, this chicken that needs to be fried. You got to get rid of it, otherwise it's going to go in the fucking trash. Okay. I mean, we would put it in the cafeteria and we would do other things, you know, Melvin in the cafeteria and stuff. But I mean, like, you want to sell it though. Like, you want to make that money. You want to make sure you still get that fucking, like, that dime at the end of the day. So it started with like 2 ladies coming in, came in, had fried chicken, fucking loved it, went back. You know, the next weekend it was like 8 ladies. Loved it, came back, you know, next weekend it was like 16 ladies, 20 ladies. And like, fuck, dude, like, Fridays became like one of my busiest days. Mm. You know, and it wasn't Friday or Saturday or like, you know, the Tuesdays or anything. It was like, you know, fucking Sundays were like popping. And like, I started having to come in early to get ready for like lunch service because these ladies were getting out of church and like rolling in. And I think we ended up capping at like 80 ladies at the end of the day. And when it finally got big enough and we started doing promotions and stuff, if you bring in like your minister eats for free, everyone else gets like 15% off. And it's one of those like
that's so smart.
Yeah, but it's like one of those not mitochondria, but it's like, well, it's like an ecosystem. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like I have to sell
microcosm. Yeah.
Yes, microcosm. Yeah. But it's like, it's one of those things where like I need to sell this chicken, I need to get it out of this restaurant. Like, how do we do that? And so, dude, we were banging for like weekends, man. And it was dope too because they were cool customers. They weren't fucking crazy. They weren't like crying. And like working in hotels, you get a lot of mixed bags of people.
Yo, man. I could see like starting to hack the culture a little bit and like pass around a collection jar. Like, I'm joking.
Oh, dude. I shit you not, man. I shit you not. So finally one day, I mean, we were probably like 5 or 6 weeks into it, and we were just like slaying fried chicken. It was great, man, because like Sunday mornings were like my fucking bad days, because we always got crushed with everyone checking out, and like it was only like a 150 seat restaurant. I only had like 2 cooks. It was a fucking shit show. But then these ladies would come in and they would fucking love the food, and you would just like leave on just like that high, man. You just fucking like.
And you don't have to go stupid crazy.
No.
All you have to do is just like make the classics really well.
Fuck, dog. I'm not using tweezers. I'm not making foams.
You're not like
I'm not sous vide anything. I'm just
like,
fucking frying chicken.
Here's a espuma.
In fact, you know what a spoon is. I appreciate you. But so finally, you know, a couple weeks later, they finally like they asked to like see the chef. They were just like, you know, like let's fucking meet the chef, you know. So like cool, whatever. Like they came back and they're just like, hey, like, you know, these ladies they want to meet the chef. They, you know, they want to see who's cooking their food and shit. So I was just like, cool, dope. So, you know, I take out my apron and I fucking, you know, dress myself down. I walk out there, man, and like everyone's like chatting and bullshitting and everything. And like, dude, like I remember walking out and seeing like the first lady look at me, and then like the second lady look at me, and then like the third lady look at me, and it just was just like this wave across like the room, and everyone was just like super quiet, and they were just like looking at me, and I shit you not, dude, this lady was in a big purple hat. You ain't black? Like no. Like, no, ma'am, no, I'm not. She's like, where you learn to cook them greens? It's like, just research, you know, because it was just like, fuck, man. It was just such a mind-blowing moment where it was just like, they expected, because like after talking to them and stuff, they expected like some like little like black lady to like roll out of the fucking kitchen and just like cooking the soul food, this like deep southern food. And it was like, no, I was just like, yo, like I'm just like this white kid out of LA that just did the research, took the fucking steps to make sure. It doesn't matter if you're selling fried chicken or ramen or anything else. Like if you take the steps and you put the work and you put the love into that product, you're gonna reach everyone, man. And that's what the whole cool thing about cooking is.
It is, yeah.
And like that's with like smoking meats and like frying chicken, because those fried chicken dishes, I mean, that's a 25-minute dish. And we told people it was on the fucking menu. Like
you gotta wait 25 minutes.
You gotta wait fucking 25 minutes for the fried chicken, man. But
question, because so greens are a passion of mine.
Bruh.
So I have a quick question. Which direction of, because you know, when it comes to like, you know, authentic greens, there's like really 2 core recipes that you can go in terms of the direction. So did you go with the like the smoked meat base as the flavor, you know, like on top of the greens, or did you go with the coconut milk? Which ones? Which?
Yeah, I mean, do you see this thing? You don't. You know, which
what was it? What was it?
Ham hocks.
Ham hocks. I was gonna say, was it salt pork or?
Yeah. And we did the thing where like you had the ham hock, and instead of just like throwing them in, we would score them.
Okay.
So after you boil them, and like we dialed that thing in, man. And you gotta think in a hotel. I mean, we do a lot bigger shit here than ever in Louisville, but we had like a 120-gallon kettle that we would just like cook shit in. So literally you would just add and dude, there was a process, man, and the recipe is still there, and they're called Los Angeles greens, because I was like, dude, I'm leaving something fucking behind, because like
you want that thread to be there. So
man.
Like, why the fuck is it called Los Angeles?
You know, and it's just like, and it creates like, because dude, when I started there was people that had been working there for like 20-25 years, and there's still going to be people working there for the next 20-25 years, and I want people to know, like, yeah, this kid came out of California not knowing anything about soul food, about fried chicken, about anything fucking else, and did the damn thing, and like did the research and sat down at night and like looked up recipes and tasted shit and decided why chicken base works better than fucking chicken stock, why, you know, ham hocks works better than fucking actual ham, why these greens that we get from Bowling Green and these other greens we get from fucking Cincinnati taste different. Because that's what I'm about, man. Because if you're not going to try to put 100% into it, then why the fuck are you doing it?
That's the point. Yeah.
That's what I try to explain to everyone, man. Like, if you're not, like, say, making coffee, making podcasts, you know, whatever, man. If you're not dumping 100% into what you're doing, then why the fuck are you doing it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, if you're putting like actual ham into your greens instead of ham hocks, like, I'll personally come and slap you.
Oh, dude, and that like Genio fucking like.
I'm done.
Because you've worked in the industry, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That shit like vacuum seal this shit.
Personally slap you.
But no, I'll never forget, man. I was working at Stoneflower with Jacob
Picklehop.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, everyone's got their own opinion.
It is what it is, man.
Love the dude. Like, I'm here to tell you, love the fucking dude to death. Work for him. We'll work for him for fucking free. I don't give a shit what his things were in his past, what he fucking done. But I'm here to tell you, like, as a chef and as a person now, great fucking guy, great fucking thing. But but when he first started opening up Stoneflower, I went into stage as like a 29-year-old, you know, like, cause I reached out to him on Instagram. I was just like, yo, like, I have a lot of respect for you. I don't give a fuck what your, like, you know, headlines say. Like, I see what you've done. I see your recipes. I see what you do on, like, social media. So, like, I want to be, like, part of that. And he like, didn't message me back for, like, weeks. And I was just like, oh, okay, whatever, you know. And literally, like, 2 days before the event, he reached out. He's like, hey, you still available? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, I'll show up. And, like, there was supposed to be, like, I think, like, 3 or 4 of us, and only, like, 2 of us showed up. And this kid, like, rolled up from freaking Atlanta.
Wow, no way.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, no matter what that dude did, and there's a lot of other bullshit on the side.
Can you give me? I don't know. I have no idea who this dude is.
I don't know if we want to.
Oh, we don't have to. I mean, we don't have to.
I mean,
but is he like a Michelin star, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Two.
That gives
Yeah.
enough perspective.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But he had some, like, shit go down with 42 grams and, like, you know, with this
Right.
old lady and stuff. There's a lot of stuff, and pick and choose what you'll take. I fucking love the man. Great guy. You know, I really still think he should have gone out to fucking LA when he could have, but
He should have dipped. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's got this crazy intensity, man. Like,
dude, you don't fucking know, man.
It's rare to
And,
find that, right?
no, man. And, like, to be side this, like, so, like, with the story, this kid came out from Atlanta, but, like, he also had, like, catch a flight. So we were there the first day, we were prepping, we were doing the damn thing, and, like, you think, you know, you're 29, 30, you know, been in the industry for 15 years, you got, like, hella, you know, resume or whatever, but dude, you roll into a Michelin star fucking kitchen, and it's not like, you know, because I went and staged at Oriole, and then I went and staged at, fuck, it always escapes me, but they weren't great experiences. They weren't. You get pushed into a corner, like, yeah, you refill the nitrogen, you do whatever you gotta fucking do, you know, you're peeling potatoes, like, everyone
You're at
always
the
talks
bottom
about.
of the bottom.
But man, when I showed up at fucking Stoneflower, it was like, yo, like, him and I were like, yeah,
well,
like,
Jake is like, he's always in these small places, so you're working right next to him.
yeah, like, we're on the same level.
Yeah, you're right next to him.
Huh? Okay. Can you give me a speech? That's okay, right?
Oh yeah. We're all about love here on this show.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That love going. Keep it going full circle. That's how we make more of us.
Yeah. right. We need more good people.
That
you know?
circle of life, baby.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
Hashtag love life. But no, so showing up at Stoneflower was great because it was literally just the 3 of us. And that was it. And we had, like, the dinner to go on and everything, and then
That's a PhD in food, by the way.
Why
like,
was he so short-staffed?
That's just the nature of the beast.
and not only that, man.
That's just the
people-
beast, man.
Uh-oh.
I mean, don't put on the, like, podcast, but, like, people don't want to work for him because, like, him and his old lady owned 42 grams together, and
There was like a falling out, basically.
there was a bad fall,
Yeah.
and there was a Netflix documentary.
You can read about it if you want
Yeah.
to really know. Like,
And Eater, man, dude, that's why I don't even tag Eater anymore. But, like, Eater
That's-
chewed him the fuck up.
yeah,
And
I mean,
they had no fucking right either, because they don't know what the fuck went on. They don't. And I'm not trying to get into, like, other bullshit and stuff, but, dude, Jacob just doesn't get the love that he fucking deserves, because he is still a great chef. He's still a great person, and it's just he made one bad choice that we've all made. You know, we've all been in dark places. We've all been deep into fucking the wrong.
I mean, his bad
thing.
choice was a really bad choice, but
Big facts.
that can't be denied.
Well, and it's funny too because then, like I said, like, not for podcasts or anything, but Anna was talking to these, like, chefs who had come into ramen salon at her work one night, and they were talking about just, like, you know, restaurants opening and closing, whatever. And someone had, like, brought up, like, Stoneflower, and, like, Anna was like, yeah, like, my husband goes in stages for him,
She
and
should have said that, but
yeah, and so they didn't tip her shit.
yeah,
Yeah, because, like, literally when she said that, they were just like, oh.
yeah, she shouldn't have said that.
No, and I get it, and I
mean, it is what it is, but
it is what it is. But at the same time, like, if I go and stage at Alinea, I'm gonna be put in a corner and I'm gonna be pouring fucking liquid nitrogen for fucking 9 hours.
But you're also gonna be like one of 20 other chefs.
Stages.
Yeah.
So when I rolled into fucking Stoneflower and there was 2 of us, it was like, bro, like, he literally brought me a fucking this, like, pork saddle and was like, hey, can you fabricate this? I was like, I mean, I can, but not not to 2 Michelin star standard. So he was like, okay, well, just do fucking this, do this, and I was just like, all right, I got you. Then we cut it down. This other guy, Remy, was with us. But so Remy had to catch a flight back to Atlanta and dip out early. And the first seating, there was only like 3 people. Our second seating had like fucking like 18. And so it was just literally me and Jacob, like just fucking like banging.
That's so cool.
And like,
That's dope,
dude,
dude.
and
That's
it was like, and the fact that he would like turn to me, like taste this, and I was just like, okay, cool.
That's
like,
so dope.
But I would taste it, and
he
he'd be
wanted
like,
your opinion. Like, it's just
Yes.
dude. And like when he asked for my opinion, I was just like,
Bro, that's
I was like, I can't.
That's the same feeling I had when I was tasting. I was tasting Steelhead
Fuck.
raw at Grand Atkins. I was sitting there. We were eating Steelhead, and he's like asking me my opinion. I'm like, what?
Oh man.
What? You actually want my opinion on this?
And like people, and what he, like I said, like, he made decisions that he made and shit. But like to be rubbing elbows with, you know, Jacob is like you can't take
Yeah.
He's a 2 Michelin star chef.
He's
There's only
undeniable.
like 80 of them in the fucking
Yeah.
country.
Yeah, he's undeniable.
You know, below that, here literally in Chicago, was Grace and fucking Alenia. Grace is gone,
Grace got on.
but he coming back though.
Yeah, we'll see what that man. That's gonna be dope.
Duffy got, dude,
Yeah,
man,
dude,
he's
he's
gonna
a
be doing
G.
some shit.
He's
Dude,
such a
that
G.
dude's a fucking gangster, man.
Yo, dude, you ever kick with Michael Carlson?
No.
Woo!
I mean, I need to.
Carlson's the man. He's my favorite.
Man,
He's my absolute favorite. I stopped in their kitchen one day. Dude, they are crazy.
it's intense, man. And like when you, because I think like where I work at, we cook for like thousands, man. Like we're doing thousands. Like, you know, like the busiest day I've ever saw was deep into like maybe like June, like early June, like late May, and it was one of those things where like in the total of the day between lunch, breakfast, the outlets, you know, like everything, we were feeding like 12,000 people on a daily basis. Like, and it was just like over, and that's not counting like the employee cafeteria either. So to literally going from like feeding 12,000 to like feeding 12, but it's like 30 courses, it's insane. And that was the reason why I reached out to Jacob, and that was one of the reasons why, like, you know, I reached out to like Noah Sandoval at Oriole and stuff, because coming into a place like the Hyatt Regency Chicago, dude, we just fucking turn and burn, man.
Yeah.
We just grind.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it. Like,
You turn and burn through people too, like shit.
no, I'm here to I love you to death, but I'm here to tell you you're wrong.
About
Half of my staff is old enough to be my grandfather.
really?
At the
I guess
Hyatt
with the
Regency.
hotel game, it's different.
Man, and
The
those
hotel game
union-
is different.
Man, those unions
Yeah,
are
I was gonna say
fierce.
the unions. Yeah, because
They're
I've
fucking
never worked
fierce,
in like
man.
a union environment, so that's different.
Huh.
Like
Man.
in the actual hotel, or not the hotel, but the actual like food industry game, you turn through people like crazy.
Oh yeah, like standalone restaurant. Yeah.
Like you turn and burn through people like crazy. Like you
Yeah.
just like don't even make friends for like the first month.
But like going back to like the beginning of our conversation where we were talking about, it's so hard to find good help now.
Yeah.
It's like people just dip because they're just like fuck this.
Quality
Like,
of life.
Yeah, and like I don't have to deal with this. I mean, it's a big reason why we're going back to Monterey, because I'm like, fuck, dude, like I can go surfing every day. You know, I can go up to Santa Cruz. I can go down to Morro Bay. I can go up to fucking Half Moon Bay and go surfing. I spend more time with my daughter. You know,
Yeah.
it's a different. And in Monterey, I'm not, you know, spending an hour on the train every day.
Yeah.
Which I love. Don't get me fucking wrong. I fucking love that, dude, because that's where all my
Your Chicago snaps are pretty cool.
dude, and it's funny too because like I am so appreciative when people say that shit, because when I post them sometimes I feel super silly because I'm just like,
You gotta think for doors.
I fucking love doors. I love the train. I fucking dude. I really,
And eye for design.
I really like Chicago.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, and I really like, and I think it also like harks back to like being a chef, where like I like, I mean, there's mise en place. Everyone knows what fucking mise en place is.
Right.
Everything in their place at the same time. Like
Yeah.
there needs to be things.
You're giving
in-
a reason to it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's like, you know, that's what we all need to do, because like I said, like if you're not dumping in something into what you consider your passion, because the fact that I've moved across the country and I've seen a lot of things, I've met a lot of people, you meet people who are just like, fuck man, you're just like, dude, if I could just like bottle an ounce of your passion, of like how you're fucking, and these are kids that are just like working in like Hyatts and stuff. I'm like, you have no clue what's going on in Chicago or New York or fucking San Francisco or Paris.
Yeah.
You know, if you could just like bottle that for a second, but then you meet like, you know, my entire staff who are old enough to be my grandfathers, who are just like fuck this, man. That ain't my job. I swear to God, if I hear one more fucking person tell me that if it's not their fucking job, and that shit fucking
that gets to you, yeah.
Oh, dude, man, and especially trying to be passionate and trying to
And
be.
then they're protected by the union, so it's like.
Fuck yeah, they are, man.
Right.
They
Unions are funny, man.
Yeah.
Unions are very funny.
Pros and cons. So
And like,
Yeah.
and like I tell people, like unions were made back in a day when they were needed, especially here in Chicago, especially in places like New York, especially places in like San Francisco, where they were working kids to death, where they were fucking working 90-year-old people to death. Like people needed someone to step in and be like, hey, yo, you can't fucking pay this guy $0.25 an hour. You just fucking can't. But now, you know, the script switches and it's like, how much more quarters can I get out of this than the quarter they were originally fucking giving me? And it's just like dudes have been
entitlement.
Yeah, and dudes have been dialed in, and dudes have been like, you know, running the system for the past 20-25 years, and they just know how to play it, man. And like I said, like if I fucking hear one more person tell me it's not my job, like. And
it's interesting that it's coming from the 90-year-olds, because usually they grew up in a culture where they appreciate the hard work.
Yeah,
I know, but I mean, people get. I have a group chat on Instagram through this other dude, and it was literally talking about like unionizing chefs, because there are a lot of chefs in the country that need those things. They need healthcare. They need fucking dental care. They need people to talk to, man. Like our industry has one of the highest suicide rates in the fucking the big thing of it.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a beautiful wife and a fucking kid to come home to. You know, not everyone has health
it's so
insurance.
hard to maintain that.
And not everyone has, like, you know, not everyone works the fucking 10-hour shifts, man. You know, and even like, and like I said, like going back to Stoneflower, like Stoneflower is a great place to work. Jacob's great, the fucking people you work with great. Not all those restaurants are like that. Like I'm sure you guys know Charlie Trotter and like his legacy. Dude, Granite Katz wrote a whole fucking chapter in his autobiography about
right. That did
about
a number
how
on him.
Piece of a fucking shit he was.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like talking about people who are dead, but
well, I mean, you know, there's the question of how much of that was like, you know, obviously a certain portion of that was just his personality, but then also he had like a brain tumor, and you know that changes people too.
True.
So I don't know. I mean,
sometimes I forget about that. Where
it's not unheard of though for chefs to be like psychopaths. Like that's not unheard of.
No, I mean it's the truth. And
yeah.
My wife even said that too. Like going back to Monterey, she was just like, you know, you're gonna have to like, you know, like dial it down a little bit. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Whatever. It was
She's like, no, like Chicago's like changed you. I was like, like fuck off. Like, you know, it's not. I'm like, I'm not even about that. I'm like, I'm the same person I've always been. And then so I interviewed with the general manager in Monterey, and I interviewed with the executive chef. And then I know the general manager really well. We worked together before. Like him and I are really close. And then he had reached out to me like the day after, and he was like, hey, you got time to talk? I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. Like I always got time for Kevin Ellis, man. Canadian, smartly dressed, 24/7, like really deep baritone, sexy voice, like just a like salt and pepper, just
Silver Fox.
Yeah,
dude.
I wish I had a baritone voice.
Ooh, God, man.
I want some.
And like
some
when
pepper.
he speaks to you, you listen. He has one of those personalities where like he speaks and people are just like, yes, Mr. Ellis, you know. And so he called me. He's like, hey, like, you know, what are you doing? I'm just like bullshitting around. He's like, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, yeah, man. And he's like, no, like as like a friend. And I was like, yeah, sure. That's weird.
I could be friends.
And he was like, look, like, you know, I know you're coming out here. I know you're taking the job and everything. But when you get out here, you're going to have to like kind of like, you know, chill the fuck out. And I was like, whoa, what? He's like, the person I talked to in the interview yesterday is not the same person I worked with 3 years ago. And I was like, okay, you know, like, I get that, but what do you mean? He's like, you know, I worked in Chicago, people worked in Chicago. He's like, I know you're a California boy, but between your passion and between Chicago, that shit presses people into a different type of person. And I was just like, still not like getting it, still not like receiving it and everything. He's like, Logan, you're moving back to a coastal town of 35,000 people. He's like, just you talking about taking the train yesterday gave me anxiety. And I was like, well, yeah, like, I usually have to fight homeless people. Like, people pull fucking, like, scissors on me and shit. Like, and he's like, yeah, like, coming back to Monterey, you're really going to have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and be the person you need to be for not just you, but for your daughter and for your wife, and just, like, calm down. And I've lived my life so... Like, I've lived so long just trying to be 100% all the fucking time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I hear him basically telling you to not live on the surface as you live on the inside.
Yeah, man. Because, I mean, being in Chicago and like, being part of this culture and, like, being, like, you know, like, just for example, like, catching a train every day. that's tough shit. You know, you do, and you miss the train. I'm fucking like punching the windows and shit. Like it's one of those things. Like Chicago will change you as a person, and you just can't hold true to that. And I know y'all are from here, and so it's a little bit different. And like coming from an island culture and coming from a California culture, you have to take that step back and be like, fuck, man, like it's okay to just be like, it's okay to just be okay.
Of course.
Well, it took me a long,
okay.
But no, it took me a long.
Goodbye. I wonder what he means. Like, if he means that you can still be 100% passionate, but like Kate, like narrow it into a smaller demographic.
I think he doesn't want me to chase people out of the kitchen.
Oh.
Yeah. He wants him to accept that kind of like.
That everyone doesn't have to be on the same level as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And it's okay to just like be okay. Because I mean, like getting the promotion and getting like the raise. Like I'm walking in there expecting because we're going through like a restaurant renovation. Like they don't have a lot of like culinary direction, so it's like it's gonna be kind of like my restaurant where it's like, I don't want to be like Noah Sandoval. I don't want to be like Jacob. I just want to be Logan. And it's okay, and it's okay to just like it's okay to go surfing in the morning. You don't have to be there at 5 a.m. Like we're gonna have to get the smoker going, but it's okay to dip out. Like those things will take care of yourself, and to trust people.
Yes.
And trust your employees, which I have a really hard time doing right now because they're all fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So like going back to that situation, it like I said, like Anna told me one night, it's like it's okay being okay.
Yeah. I think when they see how chill you are, they'll be as chill, and like they'll trust in your.
I'm chill right now because I'm like 2 beers deep, and here's
the thing too, and you can kind of fill in the gaps, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but here's to kind of tie it together because I know you follow Gary Vee and you're into the whole thing, and
right.
Gary Vee will talk about how you might be an A player. And there's like going to be a certain percentage of your squad that's going to be also A players. Those people are going to leave. They're A players are just
because they're meant to go do their own thing.
But as they should.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's important. That's important for them to do that. And you got B players, C players, D players. And it's like when you get a certain size of company, or if you get a certain culture, like if it's corporate, that kind of thing.
Man.
You have to allow a certain amount of C and D players to just exist, just to fill roles.
Yeah.
And it'll create friction
that's
between the creative and the management, where they're like, no, we need the person in the role, and you're like, I don't give a fuck, we'll just make everybody else work more hours just to get the quality going, and they're like, no, we can't do that. And then there's that whole friction where it's like the creative wants to cut all the C and D players, but the management and the money
they
or
need
whoever,
things to be still done. Yeah,
they want to play. Like it blows my mind how much, like, not to say like conservatism, but like how like scared people are to let shit kind of like
be okay.
How scared people are to continue to sail the ship where everyone's just doing a little bit more, like, yeah, I'm steering it and I'm holding this mast in place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of like the ship's falling apart as you're.
And you got a pinky on like the life raft where there's like
plugging it.
There's like a bunch of people that want to get lifted up out of the.
But it's better than having some piece of shit who's not really carrying any weight just sitting around like chewing bubble gum in the background, and you want to fucking strangle them.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of like
you don't got the hands to strangle them.
Yeah, right. You're gonna have to strangle them, like you're gonna put them in a triangle.
I got you. But no, I mean, and that's conversations you gotta have, and like it's conversations like that kind of put it in perspective too, where it's like, like, dude, everyone wants to be a fucking Michelin chef.
So when you make it out there, what are you gonna do to empower your team? Are you gonna take them out and do a big like powwow after? Before?
It's funny outside because I'm actually returning to a hotel that I used to work at, and when I worked at there, the hotel sold. Like, long story for a short story, I was there for about 7 months, and I followed a chef out there. We went home for Nalani's first birthday down in LA, came back, Executive Sue was gone. And I was just like, yo, like, where's Ross at? And they're just like, oh, he quit. I was like, didn't put in like 2 weeks or nothing? Like, no, he walked. I was like, and I get it, like, shout out to Ross. Love you, Ross. The shout out to Ross, like, he went to chase greener pastures for whatever he wanted to do in his own personal life, and I get it. And he had shit going on with his old lady and whatever. Like, Monterey wasn't for him. So, another month goes by, and then usually at that point, I was like texting my executive chef every morning, like, hey, what time do you need me in at? Because, we got a lot, whatever needs to be happening. He's like, no, text the other, the banquet chef. I'm not coming in today. I was like, cool, dope. So, like, that day, turned into like a week, and then that week turned into like 3 months, and then that 3 months turned into until the hotel sold. And so like I was like the standing executive chef for almost 4 months, and literally just like, and I used the same fucking, you know, thing for all people. I was trying to hold water in my hand and like trying to keep it level, and it was just like running everywhere because it's a 600 room hotel. Like we were doing $6 million months. Food cost was solid at the time. Labor was cool, but just like the day-to-day interactions with your staff, yeah, like you got to show up at 6 a.m. Like fuck it, man. Like you have to, you know. And it sucks for like, you know, the wife and the kid, but at that level and at that like you fucking have to. At the end of the day, like you just have to fucking do it. And it sucks, and you know, you want to drag your balls through glass and stuff, but like fuck, man, like these people need you. They need a leader. They need someone to fucking hold on to, because like I said, like there's a lot of people there who are really old, who have been doing the same thing for a long time. Monterey's a hella old city, but it's not a big city. So it's like a lot of our staff were older, and it's like, you know, Pedro is just like this older Hispanic man who doesn't know how to use a computer and shit, and he's the banquet chef, and he's cool, but so like someone's got to step up. You put in those situations, and someone's got to step up, and it's either gonna be you, or you're just gonna let your fucking team fall to shambles. So like, even though you don't want to be that person, you still fucking got to get up there and rally the troops and be like, yeah, today's gonna fucking suck. Today's gonna be fucking awful, but you know what? We're gonna fucking do it together. We're all gonna do it as one, and everyone's working as hard as they fucking can to get out the back door. And that was like, you know, people were just like, fuck yeah, dude. Like people were just like, fuck yeah, you know. And that was like one of the first times where I was like, wow, like
you're a leader. I can do this.
I was like, wow, like fuck yeah. And dude, it's funny, you know, because I remember having that conversation where we're just like, dude, we were going like 3 or 4 weeks without executive chef, and people were like looking at me. I was like, nah, dog, like I'm not like. I'm not fucking about this shit, dude. I'm in California. I'm trying to surf and
just
smoke
let me
weed.
do my work.
Fuck out of here. Like I'm trying to work my 10 hours and go home. But it's like, you know, you start seeing like, you know, the screw fall off, or like, you know, the paint start chipping, or like not literally, but like figuratively. Like, you know, you start seeing the cracks in the surface of your team, and you have to like, someone's got to do it. And if you're not, someone's gonna step over you to do it. And I wasn't gonna let anyone step over me. I wanted to be that like I finally found out like I wanted to fucking be that person. So going back and like having my interview with the chef and stuff in July, you know, every person I talked to in the kitchen was just like I heard you're coming back. I was like, I don't know yet, man. But like, and I feel bad for the executive chef because he's only been there for like 6 months.
They're like signing you up for it, basically.
Yeah, man. Like I had people that like I didn't even like, because there's a.
It's nice when you have the people's confidence. The
well,
votes,
yeah, I mean,
you know?
yeah.
And people I didn't even know like I had like touched. You know, like people I didn't even know I had an effect on. Like I had people from down like the bake shop were just like, heard you're coming back. Like I've had 2 people reach out to me on Instagram and be like, hey, like I heard through like the pipeline you might be coming back to Monterey. I was like, no, it's like I'm gonna be there in October. My first day is the 15th. They're like, well, if you're there, let me know if there's a position open because I'll come back and work for you. And I was just like,
that is
fuck,
the most flattering
fuck
compliment
yeah, dude.
ever.
I don't give it like, dude.
That's like a scene from a movie.
You're building a fucking team.
You're building a culture.
Yes.
We're getting the band back together.
Yes.
It's like it's what fucking Justin Timberlake should have done.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, but to have those couple of people reach out on Instagram, it's just like it assures what I'm doing.
What a homecoming.
Yeah, and it was definitely one of those things where I wasn't really confident in the beginning because I was just like, fuck, dude, like I ran out of that place. You know, I dipped out. But to go back, I mean, we'll see. I mean, because you never know. You never fucking know, because that shit could just slip through all my fingers. And
it's always the case, though.
I know.
It's like, if you don't think that, then you'll
It's just
definitely just like
humbling.
slam your dick in the door.
It is very humbling. And the older I get, the lot more humbling experiences I kind of have.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I was coming hot out of the gates when I was younger and just was like fucking like, you know, like I just wanted to fucking do all this shit. And now it's more of like, you know, collecting moments like that, where it's like it's not so much about, you know, the stars or like,
yeah, right. It's the day-to-day things.
Yeah, and like not to like, you know, like suck my own dick or anything, but like I make enough money that me, my wife, and I can like live comfortably, and I don't have to worry about that, and that's fucking great. We have benefits, we have fucking everything across the board, which a lot of chefs don't fucking have, which is a terrible disgrace to our industry. But at the same time, so like that shit gets taken care of, and you're not chasing people out of the kitchen, you're not doing those type of things. So then what's next? You build a team.
It's
you
what you want.
Yeah,
want to make
you
it.
build
you know,
a fucking
and
culture.
now you're in a position to do that.
Absolutely.
You build a team, and then I think the move, honestly, if you're really trying to do it big, is you have to build a product. Like,
Man,
I think
that's
the-
where fucking.
I think the product
fucking-
flip is where it's at, where it's like if you don't want to get up at 6 a.m, like me, and you know, and you want to still like be in the industry and still push the envelope as far as what people are experiencing. I think if you can turn whatever you're doing into a product.
Well, I'm here to tell you, you're about to have a kid, and you're gonna be up at 6 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 2 a.m. and
That
1
is your product.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's my product.
Literally,
Oh my God.
literally.
That is.
Literally.
That's literally my product.
Nah, man, it'll be great though. You'll have a fucking great time.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean I was never a morning person, but having a kid turns you into a morning person.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil.
You realize how much sleep you really need.
And how much sleep you really don't need.
Oh, you really
Yeah,
don't
that's
need.
true. Like how much sleep you can just kind of.
Thanks for avoiding the wires.
Good job.
She's so
baby.
careful.
Yes.
Hey, kiddo.
Hi. What's your name? What's your name?
What's your name? But no, I mean, and a big reason I'm going back to Monterey is, this one and the wife and stuff. And, just having a better, what's the word they use for it?
Quality of life. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Work-life
Better quality of life.
balance.
Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
like, here, I do great here in Chicago. Like, I love Chicago. Like, the fact that I'm cooking for all these people every day and doing what I need to do for myself is great. I'm literally going and working 12-hour shifts at Stoneflower for free. And, there comes a point in your life where, you got to take the back seat and let the other ones that brought you up take the front seat. My wife has been a huge support system for us for the last, she was born in 2017. We've moved 5 times since then. And Anna's just always been like, okay, like, dope, cool. Because at the end of the day, like, she knows where the paycheck's coming from. But at the same time, we've been able to see a lot of the country, which has been great. But now we have a position where I'm making enough money, Anna's gonna be making enough money where we can kind of just like, I can hang out and be a father and be, and smoke meats, because with her, there's a lot of times where, I wake up at 6, I go to the gym, I get home at 8, I spend about like half an hour with her, I get home at 8, get her dinner, get her down for bed, and I get like a half an hour in total.
Wow.
And it sucks. It does. It's awful, but I'm doing what I got to do for our family. And like you just saw Anna leave for work. She ain't gonna be home till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but that's also because she's just serving. She's just slanging ramen down in Streeterville. Shout out.
Ramen's on. I haven't
Ramen's
been
on.
there yet. Yeah.
It's decent.
They're very
It's
good
decent.
people
Yeah,
down there,
yeah.
yeah.
They're good people, and like the culture that's down there is great, and the people that she works for are great, and
Right.
the people she's met are great. Like, there's absolutely nothing against that, but that's not what she wants to be doing in the long run.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, not that I owe it to her, but I think it's finally time for like Anna to have a little time for like to do her thing.
Right.
Right.
We've been chasing this like culinary like chef dream for the past God knows how long, and now we have the opportunity where she can set up a clientele and do what she needs to do. And
What does she want to ultimately do?
she wants to own a hair, because that's what her trade is in. Is
Is that esthetician or hairdresser?
oh, dude, those
Yeah,
words are way too big for me.
I don't know. Okay.
She's a
All right.
hairstylist.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
right.
Yeah, she does, but she does like the manicures. She's like completely like certified.
beautician?
Yes.
Ah.
Cosmetologist.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess that's,
So can you shed us some light on the?
Yeah, sorry, dude. We are.
No, it's great. I've
Way
been
out
loving
in
it.
left field. We are.
Are you traditionally trained?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I started cooking when I was young, and then my mother and my aunt had gone to the Cordon Bleu in Pasadena to just like look at look at like baking classes. 'Cause my mom was a big baker. My mom was a big cooker. And so they came back. They were super hyped about it, but like nothing ever came about it. And I kind of like held on to that, and I kind of like remembered how like great my mom looked and felt like when she came home from like seeing those classes and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I filed it away for another day, and then I went through high school. I wrestled all the way up to 12th grade. I got a half-ride scholarship to Cal State Fullerton for wrestling, and then 3 months into my scholarship, they pulled funding for the program.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was cool. Like, did college for a little bit, but packed up my shit, went home, got home, and
dodged a bullet.
yeah,
College was a trap, but
yeah,
it's all good.
I would have been a lot as a kid. But I went back home, and mom was like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to be a professional fighter," and like that's what we were talking about earlier. And Had a lot of amateur fights, did really well. Had a couple pro fights, did okay. And I was like, this ain't for me. And then like in the in-between time with that, I'd gone to culinary school because my mom was like, just go see it. You know, just go try it out. Because I was working at a couple, the place my mom was a bartender at, I was working the fry station.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just something I always like showed interest in. And like I said, with the postcard that I got for her first birthday and stuff. So I always liked cooking. But I never thought of it as like a career. That was like daunting to me. It was like, you know, because I watched, everyone watched the shows when they were little, and you know, the Galloping Gourmet, and
I used to watch the Iron Chef, the original.
Yeah,
Iron Chef.
dude.
That was like the go-to.
Man, I remember when Bobby Flay got up on that cutting board and like the world melted. I was like, yes, get him, Morimoto. But yeah, so I started going to culinary school and like absolutely 100% fucking fell in love with it. Like just head over, like just it, like I knew I was there. And like people have like these stories about like, you know, like, oh, I was a busboy and then like, you know, I got drafted in and like also, but no, like I didn't know I wanted to be a chef or a cook until like I went to culinary school, because then I started like learning shit and like I started seeing shit. And I remember being in a class at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, because all our classes were like super early. Because
is that how they weed you out?
Yeah, man, dude, our first class, our skills class, it started with I think like 36 kids and only 12 of us went on.
It's because it's very like monotonous. You're like you have to. Is it French based? So you have to like learn how to cut like by the.
At least when I was going to school, everything was French based.
Okay.
And even I'm very blessed to have gone to the school that I did, even though it's not around anymore because they went through a lot of legal trouble. But the teachers that I had were. It wasn't even about the curriculum. It was the teachers that I had that really, really like file it out. And I remember sitting there at like 5 o'clock in the morning and listening to a lecture, like a full-blown like 2-hour lecture at 5 a.m. about sausage and sausage making. And the moment Chef Frieder started talking about keeping your force meat to a certain temperature, and I was sitting there super hungover, not wanting to be there, just being so intrigued, being like, well, fuck, man. Yeah, I feel you on your force meat. Like, I am about, like, yeah. And then going into class and making it and stuff, I was just like, dude, this is where I need to be, man. Like, passion, dude, passion will catch you off guard. Yeah. For real. Passion will come out of nowhere. But that was the moment where I was like, yeah. And, like, I barely graduated high school with enough to get into, you know, the wrestling program and get my scholarship and everything. I graduated with a 4.2.
See, when you're thriving, you thrived in it.
I'm a big, and that's like, you know, we were talking earlier about her, about like choosing your path and choosing what you want to do. Because not everyone's going to want to be a cook. Not everyone wants to be a lawyer. Not everyone wants to be, you know.
Just because you did it.
Yeah.
Or just because you think it's like, it could potentially be successful doesn't mean your spawn should do it.
No, exactly.
Right.
It's funny you say that because like, that's what I call her all the time, is a spawn.
Yeah. She's got like a mask and a cape and everything.
Literally. But yeah. So went through culinary school, like it was just a great experience. Like culinary school, and like I met a lot of people. I met her godfather. I met a lot of really, really good people. And then I came out the other side and I was working for Malise in Providence, and at the time they had a Michelin star piece. The Michelin guy left LA, and I was doing like this like kind of like loop where I was like leaving home, going to school at 5 a.m., going to 2 different jobs, and like looping back, and like I was literally sleeping like 2 or 3 hours like a day, and it was just burning me out. And I was just like, yeah, you can be as passionate as you want, but if you're not sleeping or you're not eating, and all you're eating is ecstasy and like liquor, then you're gonna burn yourself out. And so Hyatt came along and was like, hey, we offer $10.50 an hour, you know, full benefits, full everything else. I was like, wow, I'm only making $6 at these other 2 places. I'm getting my ass whooped every day. And so my mom actually got me the interview, and I went and interviewed, and and Hyatt just kind of like scooped me up. And my first couple of weeks were very jarring because it was a hotel setting. You know, there's a lot of stuff out of boxes. There's a lot. And that's a tiny hotel too. It's only 230 rooms. So the F&B program isn't really that big. But I was coming from a place that had done everything from scratch. Everything from like soups from scratch, sauces from scratch. Like we're making our own demi-glace. Like everything's literally just from the ground up. And so it was very shocking. It was very like jarring. And I was still doing my thing on the side. And you know, like I was really big into raving at the time. And like I was about that life, and I was getting in a lot of trouble, and we were just I was up to no good. I was just really, really up to no good. And then my chef left and he moved to Ohio, and I was still working at the Hyatt, and I was still doing my thing. And then my stepsister, she actually ended up passing in October of 2011, and she OD'd on heroin. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the Valley or like, you know, Simi Valley and stuff. It's not a good place, you know. And not that we were hanging out with the same people, but we were kind of hanging out with like 3 people away from each other. And I mean, after my sister passed, like I went to go find people. I did, like I really did. I went to go look for people, and you know, if I'd found people, I don't know what I would have done, but it probably wouldn't have been good. And I had gotten arrested a couple times, you know, previous to that. And then I had a job opportunity open up, like, literally the first day of November. And my mom was like, you need to go. You need to get the fuck out, because you're going to end up like that. And that's when I was like, fuck, man, like, I'm not doing the right shit. I'm not doing, and this was before having kids. I was so off on a bender and just so like out in my own fucking world and about Logan. It was insane. You know, it was just so crazy. And the amount of strife that like my sister's death created in our family was debilitating. It was paralyzing. And I remember like dipping out to San Diego like all my days off, because I just couldn't stand being at home. And it was rough, you know. It fucking sucked, but it took something like that to put life kind of in perspective, you know. And so when I got the job offer in Ohio, I was just like, yo, like, fucking out, I'm out. And like my dad pushed me, and I bought a fucking one-way ticket to Columbus, Ohio, out of LA. And I sold all my shit. I sold my car. I sold fucking everything. I had 2 bags. And a sleeping bag. And I showed up in Columbus, Ohio, downtown Columbus, Ohio.
Wow.
I had a job. But yeah, I showed up to my job.
Did you have like housing lined up yet, or did you just sleep at the convention center or something? Like,
Columbus is for the record, Columbus is a great city.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I love Columbus. Was great to me.
It's chill, man.
It's a great city. And so showed up in Columbus, Ohio. I had been like, you know, trolling Craigslist and doing like, you know, what everyone does. And so like I had found a room down on like South Livingston. I don't know if you're familiar with like.
I'm not like familiar with streets and stuff like that, but I've been in Columbus a few times though.
I found it in like the shitty part of Columbus. Like it's just in a really, really bad part of Columbus. And like coming out of the valley, I was like, oh, like it's just like the valley. And I remember when I started telling people at work where I lived, they're just like, oh, you live where? It's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. And my roommate was she was at the time transitioning. I still keep she was a crossdresser. She was a drag.
A male becoming a female?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. And she worked corners and stuff, but that's what Craigslist will get you.
Yeah, I mean,
you know. And I remember fucking hanging out with them, man. Hanging out with her and like going and seeing
get arrested, right?
I know, right? Going out and seeing like one of her, you know, tricks and stuff. And the biggest like gangbangingest black dude I've ever met in my life. And like growing up at like I met this dude. God bless you. I met this dude and I was just like, you're gonna wring my fucking neck just for like being here. And he was just about that life. And I was just like, yo, like you can't knock it, man. Like you guys show
like
this.
what you like, as they say, right?
Facts, you know. And so, like, I lived there for maybe like a month, and then I realized like I'm making enough money to like not live down here.
Yeah.
And so I moved in with some other.
It's kind of interesting. So down.
It was, dude. It was fast, and like people, I don't remember
notes. You're like,
and people always used to ask me like, "What are you doing?" I'm just like, just hanging out with my roommate. Like I don't give a like. Yeah. I truly don't care, man. You gotta take people at their. You gotta take people at their front value, man. Just because they're a prostitute. I mean, that doesn't take away from the character.
Yeah.
You know, not that I want people to do that, but man, you gotta do what you gotta do to make it.
There's an episode of Easy on that on Netflix. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is Easy?
Easy's like a Chicago-based, like every episode's standalone, and there's 3 seasons, and like each episode kind of carries on in another season.
Okay.
And there's all these characters that kind of bleed into each episode, but you
Yeah.
can pretty much pick up anywhere, and
It's a good show.
and it goes into different types of relationships.
Gotcha.
that you can
Gotcha.
possibly.
And that's the thing. A lot of the times, like we would go out and it's Dwynette now, but Damien at the time, like they thought I was her like pimp, and I was like,
Oh.
I was like, no, like I'm just here to drink the beer. Like I'm just here to hang out, man.
That'd have been funny if you like transitioned into just pimping, like just that easy.
Could you imagine?
Man, your
Yeah.
life could be. We could be having a
Yeah.
different conversation.
Oh,
right now.
dude. I mean, and it's funny, like now actually like sitting down, like talking about it and stuff, like because you kind of forget like, about like those phases in life, and you kind of just like forget that shit kind of like happened. But you're like, I mean, it builds you. It literally structures you. Because if I would have moved because at that time in my life, if I would have moved here to Chicago, if I would have moved to New York, if I would have even moved to San Francisco, I probably wouldn't be alive right now. I mean, I wouldn't be doing the same thing I am. You know, because I'd already had priors. I'd already like gotten into trouble, and then so I got out to Ohio. I was still being a dumbass. I was still fucking like blacking out drunk and stuff. Like it wasn't as easy to find drugs out there, but. I was still drinking an immense amount. I had stopped smoking weed because that's what I got busted for. So I was just like, fuck it. Like, I'm just not going to smoke weed, but I'm going to get blackout drunk every night. And then 6 months being there, I got drafted in this thing that's called the CMT program for Hyatt. And it's like corporate management training. So like they groom you for management position, like for like a division head position. And when I got spit out the other side, and like, dude, I was killing it. Like I was doing chef's tables. I was like dialing shit in. I was reading cookbooks. I was fucking like, you know, I was doing what I thought I needed to do as a chef at that age. And I was just like, in my mind, I was fucking just like murdering the game, just fucking killing it. And so finished with like top marks and all my shit was done up and everything. And then I got my first sous chef position, like my first actual manager position in Louisville, Kentucky. And they had a position open, small enough hotel. My chef was like, yo, this is where you kind of like, you know, this is a good fit for you. I was like, fucking sign me up, man. Going down there, killing the game, doing the fucking damn thing. Dude, I got down there, man, and that shit hits you like a fucking bucket of cold water. Because I don't care what program does anything for you, it sets you up for whatever it wants to set you up. But nothing will prepare you for like hard conversations, for like employees that are, you know, decades older than you, who have been doing this longer than you've been fucking breathing. So you walk in and they're just like, the fuck you know, man. And it's those kind of situations. And there's people that accepted me and there's people that like, didn't accept me. And the guy that I worked for was this old head out of actually Chicago, David Barrett. God bless his fucking soul, for because I should have been fired like at least like 6 times. Like there was at a point like I didn't want to cook anymore because I was just like, this is too fucking much. It's too much. And it was a small property, so everyone's garbage, everyone's fucking laundry is literally like out for everyone to see. So if you fuck up, like the entire hotel, like the entire management staff knows about it. There's these things called action plans in the Hyatt culture where you fuck up enough, they put you on an action plan. If you don't like meet your
like a remediation.
Yeah.
if you don't meet your
targets.
you
Yeah.
get shit canned. Like you sign like a fucking waiver that like if you don't reach this in 6 months, we're letting you go. And I was just like, man, like I'm not what I fucking thought I was. You know, you get hit in the face like that, and you're just like, should I just been a pimp? Like,
Yeah, right.
Is this what I should? Is this?
That's really more of like, I always see those things as a yet though. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not what I should be yet, or I'm not what I thought I was yet.
And I mean,
Because otherwise you just get fucked up and you just like, you walk away with your tail between your legs. But if you come out on the other side, then you actually were that thing. You just weren't that thing yet.
And when we moved down there, I moved from Columbus, Ohio with the girl I dated right before my wife, Ashley, and she was a sweetheart. She was like great girl. When we split. Yes, baby. Hi, thank you. When we split, it was one of those things where like she wanted to go back to Ohio. I was like, I'm not going back to Ohio. So like it was just a mutual. She took the dog. Everything was great. Shout out Ashley if you're out there. Hope you're doing well. Hope my dog's still alive. No, but it was one of those things where, like she went back, and then I was just like, man, like I'm just this California guy in Louisville, Kentucky, just like trying to like make ends meet. And like when Ashley and I were living together, I remember coming home one day, or I had to do something in the morning and shit, and like I went home and like I got home and I was like, I'm not going to work. I was like, I'm just not. She's like, what? Like, she's like, you look like you're about to cry. And I was like, I feel like I'm about to fucking cry because I was so fucking beat. I was so overworked. I was so fucking depressed. It was just like, that place sucked the fucking life out of me. And because like the restaurant just got like reconcepted. That's when we like did the sway thing, and it was fried chicken, and we took these recipes, and that place just sucked so much out of me because when I was like the CMT, I was hourly. So people were just like, oh, yo, like, you know, you work like 10-hour days were like the fucking like the long days. And like that's still 2 hours of overtime. So people were like fucking kicking you out the fucking front door. You turn to salary at 23.
They'll keep you forever.
They'll keep
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I was going in at fucking 6 a.m. and I wasn't leaving till fucking 10 p.m., man. And I was just like, fuck, this isn't like, I was like,
You're in Pelican Bay, basically. You're just
yeah,
like,
man. I was
you're
like, man,
done.
like I've had a great career up to now. Like, do I really want to fucking keep doing this? Like, is this what it's about? And it just like, you know, it just continued to be. And my big thing was like, I'm not gonna quit. Like, I'm not. You wanna come out this way? I was like, I'm not gonna quit. Like, there's no quit in my life. Like, I'm like, if I get fired, that's dope. If I get fucking chopped at the neck, that's dope. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and throw in the towel because that's just not my culture. It's just not my DNA. I'm not about to like fucking like give up. And so time goes on, and like I really, you know, Ashley went back to Ohio, and then I started like Anna and I started dating, and that's when like life really kind of just like started like dialing in, because like she really kind of put shit in focus. And I mean, this was before we had a kid, before we married and everything, but she was really just like, you know, you need to be who you are. And Lonnie, but she was like, she literally was just like, you need to be who you are, and you just need to follow what you need to do. She's like, if you need to leave cooking, you need to go back to California, then that's what you need to do. And there was a lot of moments where I was like, fuck, dude, like, I'm just like, I'm out, like, I'm fucking, like, I'm done, like, you know. But I would wake up the next day and be like, okay, I'm not dead, I don't have cancer, I'm not fucking struggling, like, my bills are paid. Like, what is like really truly the problem here? The problem's me.
It's just getting your head right.
Yeah, the problem's fucking me. And that's when I started like really looking at the bigger picture and the longer term picture, where it was like, fuck, dude, like, this place has been around for how long? These people have been here for how long? These people are gonna keep doing this shit. Yeah. So what's the denominator that's making my life hard?
Yeah.
It's fucking me.
Exactly.
I'm the fucking idiot.
Or was it you had a feeling that you weren't thriving?
That was it too. That's actually a really fucking good point, because then I took what was in Sway and then I made myself be about it.
Yeah, you know, because here's the thing. I was just about to touch in on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I remember one day when I just got sent home from work, like, you know.
We've all been there,
Chef,
man.
he's like, get the fuck out of my kitchen.
Out of here,
he's
bro.
like, yeah, he's get the fuck
like,
out of here.
shut the fuck up. I don't want to even see your face
And
no
it
more.
was like Tuesday I get sent home. Wednesday I'm totally about it, because like that Tuesday night
puts you in perspective, man.
Yeah, you go home and you're like, man, fuck him, blah blah blah, and you're like, fuck, man, maybe I shouldn't have dropped the blah blah blah, or I shouldn't have like let this slide, da da da.
The moment it came real to me was the moment I started asking that question, where it's just like, fuck, dude, like, what if it's me?
Yep.
Like, what if I'm the fucking problem?
Wow.
All of a sudden you start thriving.
Now you're a man.
Boom, all of a sudden shit just starts working.
But that was like the big ideal, where I was just like, man, because I thought I was just this fucking gangster, man. I just thought, dude, rolling out of LA, coming to Louisville, fucking Kentucky, I thought I was the fucking man.
Yeah.
That shit fucking put my shit in perspective real quick. And you start thinking like, yo, like, fuck, man, like, is this me? And you have to change your perspective on not just your workload, but yourself as a whole.
Yeah.
Because the person you're presenting to yourself, because that person in Louisville ain't that same person that was talking to these guys in fucking Monterey. This dude wasn't the same dude that was rallying the troops in Monterey. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was only, you know, two and a half, given, you know, a marriage and a childbirth later, shit gets real. But, you know, looking back at myself, and I mean, like you said earlier, like going down the rabbit hole and shit, like I haven't talked about a lot of this stuff in a long time. So it's like, it puts it in perspective, man. And it makes you really realize, you know, the trials and tribulations and the hills and the peaks and the valleys and stuff. Because, dude, when I was in, like I said, like when I was in Louisville, I was like, yo, like I'm the shit. Like, I'm from LA, like I'm Michelin star training, I'm fucking classically trained, like y'all can't fucking touch this.
Yo, that reminds me of this video where this dude gets his ass whooped, and like the whole time, so it's basically this dude who's like, I don't know, maybe he's like a black guy, Puerto Rican guy, whatever. But he goes up to these two guys who are getting out of a pickup truck, and he's just like starting shit with them or whatever. and he gets his ass whooped, and he's just like the whole time he's like, I'm from New York, don't fuck with me.
Don't
And they
fucking
just beat
matter,
his
man.
ass, and it's like, yo, dude, yeah, being from New York doesn't mean
Doesn't
shit.
mean
Like,
shit.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like, so if you come with a certain attitude and you don't really have necessarily what it takes to back it up in that particular moment, you can just get hammered.
Dude.
And
in all aspects of
life is relentless.
And that's why I said, like, you know, like a lot of people made their bones in, you know, Manhattan, in New York, or, you know, I mean, even nowadays, guys in like Texas and like the Carolinas and stuff, there's some really cool dudes out there doing really good shit in the culinary industry. But like, you know, your real basics were like, you know, New York, San Francisco, and like Chicago. And then you had like, you know, Paris and maybe a little bit of Miami,
You
know.
got Charleston popping up like,
Dude, there's dudes out there doing
Yeah.
God's work, man.
Yeah.
God's work.
Yeah.
Especially like to like type of food that I like.
yeah.
But that was one of those moments where I was like, it doesn't matter if you've done shit. Like if you work for Vespertine or fucking Alinea or fucking, you know, El Bulli or anything. Like, no, my El Bulli was fucking Sway in Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit shaped me and formed me into the chef that I was to become. Because those interactions and those moments where it was just like, dude, like I was just like, man, like I'm gonna go fucking like dump trash or something, because I don't have any other like skills. I
Yeah,
was like, this is what I've gotten to. Like I've wasted the last 6 years of my life trying to be a chef, and obviously I'm not cutting it.
Yeah.
But the moment you wake up that day and the moment you realize that you have to change your, I always pronounce the word, your paradigm or
Paradigm?
Paradigm.
Yeah, you gotta change it, man. You have to change it, because if you don't, you're gonna sink and you're gonna drown. Because if you can't change your mindset into the fact that like, okay, maybe you're not as fucking good as you thought. Maybe you're not as deep as you, maybe you're not the person who you thought you were. And the moment you realize that, it opens up a world of fucking possibilities.
Yeah.
The moment you shed that ego and the moment you shed that bullshit, opens up so much more when you can accept criticism, when you can accept other people's, you know, like I don't have to just write this recipe myself. I can ask for other people's perspective. I can ask for other people's taste buds. And that was like the moment in like 2014, 2015 where shit really like, shit just fucking clicked, man. Shit just fucking happened. Because then I really, like, I was still working the hella hours, but those hours were, there was a lot more to them. I wasn't out smoking cigarettes. I wasn't fucking hiding in walk-ins. I wasn't fucking like, you know, on my lunch break. I wasn't fucking, you know, in the bathroom for 4 hours. I was like, every minute of that day in that kitchen was built towards being productive. Every moment in that kitchen was built towards grinding or making something better or making something fucking more intense or like dialing in flavors. And that's when like I really became the chef that like I fucking like needed to be. And that's when it was like, that's when it like all started to fucking click, when I let go of trying to be this person that I thought I was, and that person that like I thought that I was trying to be, to just like
To
just
be you.
being.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just to
just
be.
being, man. Of just like, you know, so we're not using tweezers and foams or making a spumaze. I'm frying chicken and I'm making greens. So
Yeah.
why not make those fucking greens the best? And like that, and it just like harks back, like, why aren't we putting 100% to every single fucking thing? Like, yeah, I'm making greens, but I feel like I should be making, you know, foams. I'm making fried chicken, but I feel like I should be, you know, flipping fillets. Like, put 100 fucking percent. Put the fucking work in. Put the fucking work in, man, and it'll pay off. Like, if I could just go back and like look at myself in the face those days and just be like, yo, like, suck it the fuck up.
Yeah.
Stop
I mean,
being a bitch,
It's
man.
like it's no coincidence that like the chef culture has really become a part of the mainstream culture, because it's such an intense life.
It is. I mean, yeah, man. Yeah,
like
yeah.
chefs are really like on a knife's edge, literally, like in terms of just the lifestyle. Because it's like when I look at people who are really about the chef life, like really living that
Yeah,
life, like
yeah.
going in from like 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. or to like 3 a.m., right?
It's tough,
It's like,
man.
it's tough. There's a certain lifestyle that you have to live in order to be a part of that. And it's like, if anything like critical falls apart in your life, it's like you can either be an excellent chef or fucking on Skid Row. It's like,
Yeah.
it's as simple as that.
It's a breath.
There
man.
is no in between. There
It's
is
a
no like
breath.
office job. There is no like,
Yeah.
you know, sales job, safe bullshit. It's like either you're 100% on
Yeah, because I mean,
or you're on Skid Row.
because at this point in my life, dude, I couldn't go do like, I couldn't go crunch numbers.
You would just fuck off. You'd be like, fuck this shit. I'd rather go,
Or
you'd be
kill
like, I'd
myself.
rather go rob people than do
Yeah,
this.
like, cause like I can't sit at a desk. I can't fucking sit at, like, I couldn't
It's-
imagine
yeah,
that.
no.
I would go insane. Like I was up at 6 a.m. this morning drilling holes in my smoker so I could put fucking
Yeah.
new thermometers in it. On my birthday,
Like, everything's more appealing. Like, being a drug dealer is more appealing.
Hell yeah,
like,
man!
Everything. Like, there is no in between.
It's more lucrative too.
It's more lucrative, but it's like there is no in between. It's like either you're like in the chef life or you're a fucking criminal.
I mean, and that's where a lot of us go to. And like, rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain. But it's like
perfect example.
He spoke to that shit for a long time, man. Like the culinary industry is a place where like we don't, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people get it fucked up where like they think we go to hide. People like the culinary industry is a place where like people can just go to like fucking hide. And it's like no, it's not about that. Like we finally find a route to express our passion.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if you're smoking meats. It doesn't matter if you're making foams. It doesn't matter if you're fucking flipping fucking chicken sandwiches at Popeyes, man. If you're about it, be about it.
Yep. And as long as you're willing to get better, you can come in as you are. And as long as you're willing to get better, like there's a place for you.
That's all that people ask for. That's
like
all
you
I
don't
ask
need
for
any bullshit. Like you can come in off the street like, yo, I need work, and they're like, yo, go fucking clean this up.
After that shit went down in like Louisville and stuff, like when I started interviewing people, because I was like, at that point I was just trying to build a team. I was trying to build a team. I was trying to build a culture. I was trying to build like Louisville. I thought was gonna be. I mean, not my end all be all.
Oh.
Well, no, it didn't. I mean, because then like Anna got pregnant, and then Nalani came along, and like we never wanted to stay in Louisville. But then like when I first got like my second year in Louisville, when I saw the girl Ashley, I got a DUI, and like I wasn't allowed to leave the state. So like I was like, well, I'm trying to get my shit cleared up. Like might as well, just like dig in and try to get it fucking done. And then in 2015, I got elected for the Rising Star of the South by Food and Dining Magazine for just like fried chicken. Mm-hmm. And that's when I had spent so long waiting for these like accolades and these things to come along for the fancy shit, for the courses, for like, and then like I got this like nomination for like frying chicken, and it really
that touched you more than you knew.
Yeah, dude. And it put a lot of stuff in perspective. And like, don't worry, I have an extreme respect for Michelin star food, and everyone should. There's a lot of intensity.
But it's on a pedestal.
It is on a pedestal. But like, if you can fry chicken and beat out some of these guys that were down in like in like Atlanta, which is in the South is a big city. That's like everyone wants to, like, if you're in Louisville, if you're in the Carolinas and stuff, that's like who you're trying to beat. It's like if you're out in Joliet, it's like Chicago. It's like you're trying to be a chef in Joliet, you want to be better than the Chicago chefs. And so when I started, like when I got nominated and I was up there with these dudes from like, downtown Atlanta, when I was with these dudes from like fucking like, what's the capital of Mississippi? I always...
Jackson,
Mississippi. Like these dudes who were like, doing really good shit. The brothers in Tennessee, in fucking down in Memphis. I always want to call them Pork and Pone. Fuck, man. Their cookbook's called Collard Greens Caponara. They do Italian food down in...
I can't even recall them.
I mean, I have their cookbook. But, like, those were the dudes that I was getting, like, nominated along with. And I was like, I have these guys' fucking cookbooks. And that's when I was just like, man, like...
You need to be about it. Like, you need to...
Even more so than that, I was just like, fuck, dude, like, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm fucking making it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in New York or fucking Chicago or LA. Like, I'm doing it in like Kentucky. Like, it's on a much smaller scale, but fuck, dude, in my spectrum, in my fucking market quadrum, that's what I'm trying to do.
You're feeling your niche.
Yeah, man. Like, and that led over into like, Nalani being born, and I was supposed to take 3 weeks off. I ended up taking like a week off, and it's something that I really regret, because I was just like, dude, I was built into it, man. Like, Sway was just like Sway at the time was more important to me than my fucking kid. And it's fucked up and it's bullshit, but like, I was riding that fucking...
I hear you, man.
I was just riding that,
like
Granite Cats with a linea or anything, but it was just like, it was my own small linea,
right. Yeah, I hear you.
And it was just fried chicken and like this other shit, but we started doing some really cool shit, and then we hired this chef in who was from a Michelin star restaurant in Italy, who worked for another Hyatt, and he came in, he started doing cool shit, and we just fucking gelled. And like the last like 6 months, like 8 months of my time at Sway was just fucking remarkable. It was just so good, man. And I was still working, 18-hour days, 16-hour days, but like I would leave just on a fucking high, just like, man, like we did fucking work today, man. And we started doing courses, and it was just like shit no one expected out of a hotel restaurant in downtown Louisville. It was just, it was fucking
unexpected.
Yeah, and it was cool, man. It was really fun. It was really
Imagine
fun.
if the next wave was like, fuck the Popeyes, let's go to the Hyatt. Let's
Right?
get the fried chicken at the Hyatt.
So I want to take this opportunity to ask you something, because I'm a big fan of Al Pastor.
Oh, me too, man. Me too.
And
Girl, you speak
mentioned-
my language.
So you mentioned that you're doing the whole thing with the dried pineapple.
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. So I want to just to give something to the viewers and to myself, obviously. I want to ask you, okay, if you're a person at home, maybe you have a grill, maybe you don't, maybe you just broil in the oven, whatever.
Whatever, man.
What's your go-to in terms of how to make al pastor, in terms of like the marinade and in terms of the cuts? Like, how do you like to roll?
So if you want, like, are you talking about like at home or like on?
At home.
At home. So
At home.
if you were gonna do it at home, I would literally just go buy a bunch of those fucking what are the chingaderas called? Like those pork loin, not pork loin, but like the pork chops, like the thin cut pork chops. You can see at like Julasco or
Yeah.
Albertsons or whatever.
Yeah.
And dude, just buy a bunch of them, man, because they're always hella cheap. And if you get them on Tuesdays, like they're like buy one get one fucking free. And literally just load that shit up on a skewer, and then like every 5 pieces you do, put a fucking slice of pineapple. and I'm not talking about like the shit out of the can. Like get you
Like
a
some
pineapple,
pineapple and just slice
peel
it.
the fucking pineapple, and do the real shit. Like do the work.
And would you broil that? Like, would you just put
Fuck
that
yeah. And I would do it on the side too. You ain't gotta stand it up and down, man.
on the sides
Just fucking dress it up and
and just
get,
like rotate it?
dude, and and just get the fucking what's the fucking called? It's the red paste. It's the fucking why is that escaping my mind right now?
Is it the Korean paste you're talking about?
No. It's a Mexican paste, but it's literally just like I can see it in my mind. I can see the fucking like the little square box, but it's the same stuff they use for al pastor. And just
Okay.
toss all your shit in that pineapple
Like
juice.
just like a chili paste, basically.
Yeah, and just like fucking toss it up, fucking do your damn thing, and just you have to slide on a skewer though, because like after you're done roasting it, you can
gotta
stand it
slice
up,
it.
you can slice that bitch off.
So slicing
and
is
it looks
critical.
cool. Yeah, and I mean that's one of the things too, because like those pork chop cuts aren't like the greatest in the world, but like when you're cutting them off the side, everything's like different.
Gradients of.
Yeah, no, and different like sizes and everything.
Yeah.
Those are small cuts, and the smaller your cut, the easier to chew. So it doesn't matter if it's
I hear
tender or
you.
not. You know what I'm
I
saying?
hear you, man.
And if you low and slow it, I mean, you got to commit to it though. That's got to be like a 3 or 4 hour thing. And you got to just let it sit at fucking 250, 275, and let that shit caramelize. And you got to baste it. Because if you ain't basting or if you ain't spraying, then you ain't fucking doing it right, man.
Okay. All right. I'm glad we got that on there. Cause
Oh,
like,
I'm glad you got it out there.
Yeah, because to be quite honest, like when I was going through your gram, I was like, oh shit, man, I'm gonna ask him how to make al pastor. Like,
What's a go-to I was gonna say El Patron, but El Pastor place around here?
See where your mind's at.
Oh, okay.
I really, dude, no.
Cheers.
Hey, you want to do me a favor? Will you go grab me a beer out of the fridge? I wonder. Watch. I've tried this
She's
before.
on the mission.
I'll
She knows which one.
She might bring out like a can of like coconut milk or something. But El Gallo #5 right up the street. I mean, it's not the greatest on the face of the planet. It's really not, but makes some
It gets
good
it
fucking
done. It's a go-to.
al pastor. Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever heard of El Gordo in Southern California. It's in Vegas now. It was actually in Tijuana. That by far, I've eaten a lot because obviously I have a tattoo of a pig on the back of my leg. Like I fucking dine on swine.
Yeah.
That's my shit, man. And like I'm slowly developing a little bit more appreciation for beef and like I've always liked chicken. And I'm not a big fish guy, even being from like the West Coast and like islands and stuff. Like I worked in a sushi restaurant after Monterey and then after Louisville. But like fish has never been like big to me. Like don't get me wrong, like I love frying a fish taco and shit, but dude, yes.
Yo, she got it.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
nice. That's so solid.
It's like having a puppy.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm pumped for that part.
You gotta train him.
You just
though.
got me excited. I'm like, oh wait a minute. You mean I can stay
It's actually
seated and
probably not the best
It's-
parenting thing.
well,
on the
it's
face
like
of
when
the
my
planet.
grandma would get me to light her cigarettes.
Facts.
That's how like all my mom and siblings started smoking. Is my grandma would get her to light.
Dude,
get them to light the cigarettes.
My grandpa used to send me and my brother down to the corner mart in fucking down not Carlsbad, but next to Crenshaw. We used to go down and buy him fucking cigarettes.
with a note.
Handwritten. It had to be handwritten
Had
because
to
if it
be
wasn't fucking
handwritten.
handwritten,
It
they
was-
wouldn't fucking believe it.
And they would fucking sell you the cigarettes. Yep.
God,
I've
man.
been there.
Times, man.
Yep. It's
They're all the
crazy.
same?
You could never do that shit now. I mean,
No,
maybe
no.
some neighborhoods where it's like they know your grandma or like your mom.
Yeah, and they've been there for a long time.
Right.
So then after Louisville, so Nolani was born. I know we're kind of going off on time, huh? Yeah. After Nolani was born, we kind of like, we made it a plan. I got my shit settled with the courts. Like I got my shit thrown out of the court in November of 2016. Nolani was born in June of 2016. March of 2017, we had landed in Monterey. Monterey was fucking, I'd never been there, didn't know about it, didn't know fucking anything about it. I just wanted out of Kentucky, and I just knew it was time for me to go. For as much as, like we just talked about, all the love and the passion that went into Sway, it was time. Because everyone gets to that point in their passion, and then everyone
You
gets
gotta move on.
You have to,
Yeah.
and like you have to leave it to someone else. You have to be okay to leave it to someone else, you know? But unfortunately with that, I was gone for like a week, and then the place franchised. Chef's change, yeah, man. So in a weird way, literally, you know, like 4 years of my life that I was just like, literally that whole sob story that we just talked about was just like.
Well, you got to take it with you though.
Oh, absolutely, and
Wow.
I'll tell that story for the rest of my fucking.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
Instagram.
That's yours, man.
Yeah, I have
That's
Instagram
yours.
posts about just like how important Kentucky is to me in a really fucking weird way, and it is what it is. I mean, we all pull from places that we get to.
Do you have any more of that beer left?
Yeah,
Can I grab some of that?
absolutely, man.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, we can share. I don't got cooties or nothing. Do you want some of this?
I'll take a little bit of that.
There might be some in the. You want to grab one? Can you grab one?
bro.
There we go.
Okay, thank you.
She'll get another can.
Cheers, man. Oh no, you gotta get the. Man, come on, dog.
On the bottom action. I'm sorry.
Rookies around here, man. No, I'm just kidding. So got out of Louisville, went to Monterey. Monterey was great. That's good beer too. That's fucking.
Yo, tell us. I'm sorry to interrupt, but tell us a little bit about this beer, dude. Like, what got you to pick this up, man?
And I hate sours, like with a fucking.
I didn't even
passion.
know it was a sour. I knew it was like they called it a dessert beer. I just follow a bunch of breweries on Instagram, and they said I found it yesterday that they're releasing that today, and all the ingredients like guava and passion fruit and vanilla kind of appealed, and I knew it was up here, so I knew I was gonna be up here for the day, and I was like, I'm just gonna go grab a beer, and usually they sell out. Like a lot of these breweries that are.
Yeah.
Chicago has been like a big IPA kick.
Yeah.
I am a whore for IPAs.
I'm just saying, you know, it's just like-
I used to hate them, and then I started to love them, and then I started to hate most of them because I started to figure out what was good about IPAs, and you find out that most of them are not very good.
No. And a lot of them are. And what you got? And we are in a really good city for beer. And I moved here from San Diego, and that's like two of the best brewery fucking cities in the fucking country, man. Is San Diego and Chicago. And when my buddy Fred came out to help me watch her when my wife was in Costa Rica, I brought him just because he's a big beer head guy too. He's the one that owns like Chef Hatco, and he loves beers, loves flavor. He's a chef too, guy who I met in culinary school, and like I literally just started like bringing him shit. And we probably drank like 20 different beers because I was just buying him singles and stuff and like grabbing stuff. And when he left, he's like, I didn't have one single bad beer.
Nice.
And he's a really hard palate to like rope in and like bring it into.
Damn.
Dude, I think I'm gonna stock this for Thanksgiving.
It's
Like, for real.
definitely like Thanksgiving-esque flavors.
Yeah.
They have an Oktoberfest beer too down there.
Get some of that too. You got any questions that you wanted to kind of pound through? I know
Yeah, sorry,
you're
man.
a very organized personality.
Yeah. What?
Dude, like I said, like
Why smoked meats?
okay.
Why?
So,
yeah. What drew you to?
Yeah. God, man, that is a.
Thanks. Ah, man, I'm about to be lit.
So it's a very like, it's kind of a silly ass story, but I mean it kind of makes sense in the long run. So like I said, when Nalani was born, I'd been working at Sway just like intensely, just like in it to win it, just fucking like just pouring myself into that fucking place. So Nalani was born, and I had like this week off. And when Nalani was first born, Nalani was really sick, and so we didn't even have a kid to bring home at the time. And we would go to the NICU every day, and we'd go visit her. But like you literally go from like 100 to 0. There was days where I was just like literally.
You can't go home with your child.
Yeah, and I'm literally just like sitting in my living room, just like I've never had this much fucking free time in my life, and I'm like I don't know what the fuck to do. So dude, we had this fucking smoker in the back of our apartment and it's one of my favorite. I favorited the photos because like people like don't understand fucking stand. So we had this smoker.
Wow.
This smoker here is a far cry.
Oh no, it's not. Okay.
So that thing had been sitting in the back of our apartment for like the guy said like 15 years. Rusted, beat the shit, dead, like had holes in it and stuff. My neighbor like knew how to weld and stuff. So I was like, yo, just like weld me up these spots and like I'll give you food, like I'll fucking smoke you meats. And it was literally one of those things where the passion came out of just like idle hands, because I was just so used to doing so much shit all the fucking time that I just like, I needed an outlet. I needed somewhere to fucking like dump that energy into. And it started with like, you know, a rack of ribs, like everyone fucking, yeah. And then it turned into like, you know, whole, like 6 whole chickens at a time. It turned into like turkey legs. It turned into like, you know, brisket. But at the time I was doing like those little brisket pieces you buy at like Kroger and shit. Like, just like, you know, like the little, like, it's called the point. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like meat cuts and stuff, but it's not the greatest cut of meat. But in my mind at the time, I was like, oh, it's fucking brisket, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And there was one day where I did one of the little cuts, and it was the first time I'd ever used like a spritz, like a spray, and it changed my fucking perspective on smoked meats. Because at the hotel, we had a smoker, but it was electric. It was wood chips. It wasn't as, yeah, we made good food out of there, but it wasn't what I was like looking for. And then there's this place called Feast in Louisville, who are like known for their smoked meats, and being from California, that's not a big thing. And so like I was like had slowly like started getting into it and stuff, and I remember going there just like on a whim. And like Anna and I had just left the hospital. She was fine, you know, she was all good. We're fucking hungry, sleep deprived, and I remember sitting down at this like picnic table, having a beer, and like taking a bite. And it wasn't even brisket, it wasn't even anything, like, dude, having a fucking a spare rib done correctly, and with like a little bit of coleslaw that was just done with vinegar, and like a little piece of fucking cornbread. And
they knew what was up, man.
And it just changing. They have like 4 restaurants now.
Even just putting it together that way, they knew what was up.
Man, dude, and it just changed my outlook on smoked meats, because I thought I was doing the damn thing with our electric smoker and stuff, and it was just like crazy. And so when we moved from Louisville to Monterey, my first Father's Day was that following June, which was right before Nolani's birthday. And so like I'd been like smoking chicken and stuff on and off and stuff, but my mom literally bought, I mean, this same smoker, she bought this smoker and she like sent it to me off of Amazon or fucking God knows what else. And I got it, and it sat in the corner for fucking days, turned into months, turned into fucking like, you know, half a year. And like one day I was just like, fuck it, like, so you unbox it, and like, dude, it's like fucking Walmart, you know? It's just like, it's just a fucking hunky piece of shit. It's still missing the other fucking, see what that hole is? It should have another one of these. I just threw the piece away and I said, fuck it. But we, like, I built it, and it was fucking awesome. And like, it was really just sitting on like our like porch, looking down into Monterey Bay. And I did ribs one night, and they came out fucking awesome, man. And I was just like, yeah, dude. And then the next time I did ribs, they called the fire department on me, because where we lived at was at the top of the peninsula, and like the smoke.
You see smoke,
yeah. And so like, and it's a small town, 30,000 people, whatever. And so they called the fire department on. So they showed up, knocked on the door. I was just like, what up? You know, and it was just.
Did you give them some food, or?
I tried to, and they were just like, they were fucking more annoyed than anything else.
They should be annoyed at the person who called, though.
Man, I wish I could find out who the motherfucking snitch was, for real.
Well, it could have been someone in traffic. I mean,
somebody tricking out there.
Yeah, I remember, it's a small town.
Safer than sorry.
So then we moved to San Diego after that, because we were in Monterey for like probably like 7 months. Moved to San Diego, and then it sat in storage for like almost a year, and just sat there. And I used to hide like all my weed stuff in it, like all like my cannabis shit, and it just like sat in storage. And dude, it was something out of a movie where you have clothes piled on top of it, there's like shit piled up underneath it, and it just sat, and it sat, and it sat. And when we moved out here to Chicago, I remember the movers coming and be like, hey, do you want to take this? And my wife be like, yeah, I mean, I guess. I'm like, yeah, like, just fucking like pack it up, like, just throw it on there, like, do whatever. Brought it out here. It sat in storage for another 2 months, because we were living in, I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking throw that. Dude, I thought Anna threw that away, for real.
She's such a good troll. I love it.
But, so we got here, and finally, like, we had a backyard. We had a place, like, to do it at. So before winter hit this last year, I had, like, you know, smoked a couple things. Whatever, like, I'd done it. But, dude, I got back from San Francisco in January, and I really started, like, thinking about it. And honestly, man, like, I don't know what kind of, like flipped the switch for real, because I don't know, man, because I went into work one day, and I asked if, like, we could get brisket, and they were just like, yeah, but, you know, And I was like, no, I want to pay for it. Like, I want to buy brisket wholesale, so I don't have to pay, $150 for this fucking brisket. I just want to try it out. Because I'd like been researching a little bit into Aaron Franklin and stuff, and like there's a lot of stuff like that Texas barbecue does that like harks back to like Hawaiian barbecue.
Oh.
Like Texas barbecue, they hit the 4-hour mark and they hit the stall with their brisket. Mm-hmm. They wrap it in fucking paper. We do the same shit with fucking pigs, but just with banana leaves.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all the same fucking shit. We use a chamber in Texas, but we use a fucking pit in the ground in Hawaii.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, fuck, man. It's literally all the same.
Can you imagine how gram worthy that would be if you had a pit in your backyard?
Well,
wait till I get to Monterey, dog. No. But it was one of those things where it started off as like an interest, and it started off as like something that like, because the labor of love, and like harking back and like going back to like talking about Louisville and talking about other things, like everything we do as chefs, if you're not gonna, and Aaron Franklin even says like, dude, if you're not gonna put the time and the work into it, you're not gonna have good brisket, you're not gonna have good ribs, because those pieces of meat, those things that you do, like the ribs I gotta do tomorrow, I'm gonna be up at 4:30, because if you don't put the time and love, it's not
gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, you'll scoot by,
but it's not gonna happen.
And I've also made the shit that scoots by in Louisville, in the electric smoker. That was just like, it was
everybody
okay.
does. Like,
yeah.
It's just like you skirt, and it's like whatever.
And mad
get that extra hour of sleep.
And mad respect to like the people who use Traegers and stuff. Whatever. I'm just not a fan of like the soy oil that they use to bind, because I feel it gives like an acrid taste to, like the smoke. But that's just me. But like your weekend warriors, your people going out on boats and stuff, great. But like to me, to build a fire, to take care of that fire, to make sure the whole chamber is still up to like heat and stuff, that's something more than just like cooking, man. You're pouring a day. Like that's a day. We only have so many days on this earth, man. We really do.
That's the ritual.
Exactly.
It's like there's this idea that when you enact a ritual, basically you are recreating the existence of humanity.
That's what I'm saying, man. And
like you're reenacting.
I got nothing else to do.
Like the nature of ritual is to take you back to that creation point. Well, like you're bringing that creation point to now. So it's like you're saying we're gonna go back in time and then come back to this moment, like reverse engineer it's how we got here.
Not necessarily. So that one of the last guests, the knife maker.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
It's all captured in that knife, right? So like when shmealers come through and they're like nomming on your brisket or ribs, it's like that's part of your heart and soul in that.
It is,
you know?
And that was one of those things where like with shmeal and with like the smoking meats, yeah, I could have done noodles, yeah, I could have done ramen, yeah, I could have done fried chicken, yeah, I could have done all these other things, but like the labor of love that goes into smoking a brisket, to smoking like plate ribs, it's dude, if you're not up at 4 a.m., it's not gonna fucking happen. And it's one of those things too where like, yeah, there's a lot of places where you could cook it the day before and reheat it and it would still be fucking great. But if you tasted brisket straight off of a smoker that has been rested in fucking paper for an hour, it will change your fucking life compared to a brisket that's been like cryovac, put away, sat for a couple days, put into sous vide. Still great, still fucking tastes amazing, but to taste that off the fucking grill, dog, like it is mind altering as a chef and as a person, as someone who's passionate about food.
Yeah.
It really is, because the labor of love that goes into cooking, slow cooking meats and stuff, and it's not just like you're like tossing it in the oven and just like letting it roast for fucking 8 hours. No, dude, you gotta fucking like this fucking side capsule thing, that's my life, man, for a whole day. You gotta feed it, you gotta nurture it, you gotta love it, you gotta move your fire around. If you're getting too much fucking heat into your chamber, it'll burn your meat. You gotta make sure the seasons are correct. That's why I only spray with diet pop the first half of the smoke, and then I spray with regular pop the second half of the smoke.
Why pop?
Because, I mean, one part, that's what Instagram told me to do. No, no, but like, I spray with soda pop because like I like those flavors. So like in the beginning, I started spraying with like
Baja Blast.
I wish. Mountain Dew, motherfucker.
Are you doing like vinegar or something?
Well, I do equal parts vinegar, vinegar, beef stock, and then root beer. Because there's a lot of people that like I saw on like the online and stuff, and like when I started really doing like the deep dives and like the really like the true research into like places that people haven't even heard of out in like Carolinas and like out in like there's this dude in South Carolina. He was on that documentary Cooked on Netflix, and man, that dude is the truth, man. Talking about the rooter to the tutor, man. You using everything. You're doing whole hog cooking, and it's
Like saucing it up with a mop and shit.
oh yeah, like
yeah.
you either mop till you stop, or you
This, you just get up in there with the
or
fucking mop, bro.
bro, the spritz is the shits. Like I'm gonna get those on fucking on t-shirts one day.
You get that
For
shit on
real.
t-shirts. I'll buy it.
Bro,
I
if
appreciate
you
that,
haven't
man.
lived until you've seen someone fucking mop a whole pig,
Yeah,
like,
man,
saucing it
and they're
up,
just and dude, they're
Every
just
crevice, yeah.
like a legit ass mop,
Yeah.
just in there.
Same thing. I mean, I have the same mop I've been using for the past, like, 3 years and stuff that I got from the guy upstairs who taught me how to like smoke meats. And it's like you were talking with like the knife guy. It's like building a mythos, and it's like shit. Like, dude, like I'll be using that mop for the rest of my fucking life, you know. And the process
Wow.
the process that we're making and stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, he's a fucking degenerate. Shout out Chris Ferguson, I love you to death. But he's like
Such a compliment.
yeah, but he I mean, he was an alcoholic. He like just didn't have his life together, but you know what he did? He taught me how to fucking smoke meat.
Yeah.
And like super like generic, like just like the bare basics. And then I took that and I bought Aaron Franklin's cookbooks. I got online. I did the research. Yeah, dope. It's like cool, like we cook for 5,000 people, but like no, like I want to cook for 10 and I want that meal to be fucking excellent. So it's the same outlets and it's the same extremes you're putting towards like Michelin star food, but towards a brisket or towards like
Interesting.
With a damn mop on a pig, like it's crazy. You can take the same level of execution with just like these really rudimentary looking tools.
that's what I'm saying.
But that
man.
know-how that comes through is
And-
everything.
And that know-how you can't find. Like that shit they
You
don't
can't
teach you in
fake it.
school.
You can't fake it.
Because when we had barbecue class in like culinary school, they weren't telling me to use a mop or a spray. They were
Yeah.
telling me like just the fucking like, you know, you roast the pig, you roast the fucking primal cuts, whatever. No, like you have to find someone. I mean, now it's different nowadays because now you're, you know, the internet is.
The internet changed everything because it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you can just get like at your. But then again, there becomes this whole notion of what's trustworthy sources. So, like, for example, I'll go out and I'll look at some reviews and I'm like, to be honest, I don't trust like 85% of these reviews. I don't trust them at all because I know these people have bullshit palates. They they're about the gram. They're about like the whole ambiance.
Funny story though, because like this whole Aaron Franklin thing, because like technically on paper right now, Aaron Franklin's the best. He's the most influential. Like if you Google it, he's like the top pit master right now, and that's what like you know the internet tells you. And I wasn't about that shit for a long time. Like I was trying to find these guys in like North Carolina, South Carolina, like these like deep Southern dude, because those guys are gonna fucking teach you something.
Yeah.
Until
Those dudes that don't want to fucking teach you at first.
exactly
They're just like, yo, get the fuck off my property. Like that's the guy you want.
and they're like going out with their fucking shotgun with the bloodhound.
That's the guy
and
you want to
shit.
learn from. You gotta
Fuck yeah.
get in there.
But then until I read like Aaron Franklin's story and about how he started in a trailer park and he just started researching and he started trial and error and he started with something like this and he just built literally just a fucking empire. And that's the thing, like, because I only had known him from like Food Network and Top Chef and like these like, you know, like we all want to look to those people because that's what the industry and that's what like social media tells us to do. But until you actually do the research, and Aaron Franklin struggled for a long fucking time.
He's like a 20-year overnight success.
Yes.
I love,
But-
You know what I'm
I love
saying?
that.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks he was just an overnight
Yeah,
success because he
yeah.
started doing really good brisket like 8 years ago.
Yep.
Yo, but no one sees before that 8
Right.
years he spent
They
fucking
didn't
5
give a
years
fuck, dude.
eating top ramen in
didn't
his
care.
fucking trailer park. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just like it's all fucking relative, man.
It is.
And I'm not saying like that's what I want to do, but it's like that's
It
like
gives you perspective. It's like, well, okay, well, I have to put in the work in before I can
have
shine.
to,
You know,
man.
like that's
Yeah.
and that was just a dude that was just like, fuck, dude. Like, I just like, he's like, I was just like, he's just like, I like smoking meat. And,
Yeah.
and he created this just like fucking empire.
So if you
man.
continue doing what you love, the money will come.
It's also too like you have to be just plugged in because like most people are not like the I think the average person is just kind of like going about the day and just kind of like taking it as it comes to them and they're not really getting plugged into a particular culture.
You got to go get it, man.
Yeah, like you gotta really bring it in. Like we were talking about before, you brought your culture. You said like I'm gonna go find my culture and
man.
and bring it to myself. I'm not gonna like expect it to come in and reveal itself to
Absolutely.
me. It's my job to go and fucking chew on it and drink from that fire hose until I can't drink no more.
I like that,
and
yeah.
really just get it, you know.
And that's the one thing, I mean, because I'll never, like, I had a chef tell me one day, and it's like, you know, there's so many interactions in the kitchen, like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing half the time. And I remember, like,
Half the time it's like being drunk, but go ahead.
literally.
Like, you're just like, okay.
With a fucking blindfold on.
Okay, yeah, sure. This
with
is
a
just
really,
happening.
really fucking sharp knife in your hand.
For real, my.
Yeah.
And I remember one day, like, I was fucking up or something. I was doing something stupid, and we had an intern chef, and I had missed like a EO or something. Like I had completely just like fucked off and like had missed an entire party for someone, and I was like, well, it was never fucking given to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no one ever walked the EO. No one ever brought this to me. No one ever fucking came.
You went
to
through
me.
like the fucking bureaucratic, like, you know, blah
Yeah.
blah, like let's
No
go
one-
through the chain of command shit.
Yeah, no one ever came to me and was like, you need to cook this food.
Right.
No one ever did. And
Yeah.
my chef was just like, the fuck.
He's like, chef.
And I was like, no one ever. Then like,
Yeah.
you know, I fucking blah blah blah. And he was like, you need to go get the information.
Yeah.
You need to find the information.
Yeah.
You need to search for the information. And I remember him saying that and being like, holy fuck, that's a lot deeper than just this fucking 15-person party that I missed. And that's what, like, I kind of like, you know, that's why I have 100 cookbooks in my house. And that's why
Yeah.
I spend more time on the internet than I should, because, you know, people are doing stuff out there. People are doing things that are not happening anywhere else. And like, are you guys familiar with Dan Barber and Blue Hill Farm? And so Dan Barber is first and foremost, a blessing to our culture and our lives as human beings. He's a 3 Michelin star chef. He owns 2 farms and one 3 Michelin star restaurant in New York. Mm-hmm. And he cares more.
Is it upstate New York?
Yeah, it's in the cut. It's like
Yeah.
out. And he was on Top Chef or Chef's Table. He was like the very first episode, and like he's grown so much more than them. And I remember sitting up one night and like, you know, just like doing what we all do, doing the Instagram thing,
Right,
and, like,
right,
going
just up
through.
in there.
And I just like stumbled upon his like story, and it was literally they were doing like rooter to the tutor. They were doing like snout to tail cooking, right? Which we all familiar with now. We're all great into it. Everyone knows about it. Very few people do it. So this motherfucker did that and then went a step further. So they were smoking meats. They were doing the brisket. They were doing the cheeks. They were doing like, I think, like the tongue and stuff, which is all great and dandy and everything. So then this motherfucker went and took the bones out of the
carcass.
out of the carcass, like the leftover bones that no one else uses, that they usually like throw into stock or whatever.
Right.
And you gotta think in that mindset, like, yeah, they go into the stock, but then they still get thrown out.
Right.
It still goes in the trash. Like, you're still having composition pieces. So he took those bones after the stock, took them, put them in this fucking like blast chamber in a fire and made them into char, kilned them, dried them out, and then used them in his smoker for the meats.
Wow.
So you are literally
Coming full circle. Yeah.
not just full circle, man. You are going full fucking like, you're doing a full rotation of the earth. Like you are literally building food from
food.
like
Dust
you're
to dust, ashes to ashes, man. Like,
man,
Yeah.
that is real shit. And
Yeah.
and that's like, and like, you know, my little thing on the side, just like, you know, with like, but like that's why I started like drying out like pineapple skins, because I saw that shit and I was just like, holy fuck, like,
It's like, what else can I use?
Yeah.
yeah, like what, like,
Right.
because
Yeah.
obviously I don't have whole cows like hanging in my
right.
fucking garage
And you just
stuff.
get a whole different profile of heat.
Yeah,
You know.
and it's like, so like I was really, really worried that I was getting a lot of acrid smoke because they weren't gonna be dry enough.
Yeah.
But so at the Hyatt, we have so many fruit peels, just so, because like, dude, we're dude, you're prepping for 3,000 people. Like, you have 120 pounds of just pineapple peels.
What do you just throw them in like a dehy or some shit, or like?
No,
what-
they those all go in the trash. So I started like,
No, I'm saying like when you use them.
no, dude, I just put them on sheet pans and put them in the fucking oven
Oh,
overnight.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So I set my oven to like 170 degrees.
Gotcha. You just lower.
Because that's how I was
I hear
taught
you.
with
I
my
hear you.
shit.
You're like fuck a dehy.
Yeah, dude.
You're like
I'm not rich enough for that shit. But like, I literally just like, I had like 6 sheet pans and I just like stacked them, you know, this way, that way, this way, that way, and I just
Right.
lined them up and I just let them go overnight. And you know, pull them out the next day, and like some of them were a little bit more moist than other ones, and I was just like,
those bottom boys.
and I was like, you know, this may fuck up my whole smoke. And I was just like,
You're willing to experiment.
fuck it, man. I mean, if you're,
You don't know until you know.
you got to, man.
know
But
until you
that's
know.
where like that like pineapple rind smoking stuff kind of came from, was like that Dan Barber, like, okay, so if Dan Barber's gonna use a whole cow, what
Wow.
can I do to mirror that? What can I do in my personal life, in my little bubble, in my spectrum, can I do to help the earth, to help whatever the fuck you want to help Mother Nature, to help, whatever you want to
Yo, Logan. Yo, what you're going to do is you're going to start a product company and you're going to sell people dried pineapple rinds to,
Yes!
to smoke their meat.
Yes!
Dude, because I'm telling you, man, like...
And you're going to fucking put root beer on them.
Oh!
Like, I'm serious, dude. You're going to fucking, like...
Root beer and IPAs.
Bro,
Cheers.
like, no lie. If he fucking, like, turns it into... I'm telling you. That's the whole reason I got into products. I got into products because you can sell to everybody anywhere.
He ships international.
Dude, I have customers, like, in fucking Switzerland and shit, like...
For the coffee?
For coffee.
Yes.
Holy fuck.
Bro.
Yo,
There's a big fucking smoked meat community in Switzerland.
Swiss people are on everything.
Dude, they're on some other shit.
They're on everything. They're buying my coffee. They're fucking still using silver and gold money. Like, they are plugged into everything.
God.
But in any case, though, man, turn that shit into a product. Like, I'm telling you, if you sell people pineapple rinds and show them, like, tutorials how to fucking smoke,
Oh my
Bro,
god.
That was like...
that's the hack, man.
But when I started throwing those pineapple rinds into the fire, and it created white smoke and not black smoke.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting back and just being like, "Fuck, man!" Like, that was like the first time I had like an epiphany since
You knew
like
what was
the
up.
fried chicken, because I was just like, fuck, like, man, like I'm doing something.
Wow.
Like, it was one, yeah, dude.
Now,
and it's little shit.
the next level, what about infusing coffee into it?
I mean, if you want to give me a bunch of beans,
Dude, I can fucking give you whatever you want. Like, when it
feel
comes to that coffee stuff, man,
I feel it would take a lot of beans to fucking get that fire going.
we'll see what's up.
And I also get
how much of it is it beans or actually spritzing?
for the smoking.
Yeah.
So with smoking meats, it depends on what we're doing. So like usually, I've actually become more of a spritz person than a mop person, which I mean is like a subculture in like smoking meats. It just depends on where you're at, man. And if I do say I do like pork belly, that gets mopped because it's just the
It's just the nature of the beast.
and it's a shorter amount of time.
Right.
And it's the same thing with like chicken.
I mean, that spritz is not gonna really penetrate.
No,
It's not-
no. But with like like a brisket or with like plate ribs or with like like any of those like bigger cuts of meat or like a quarter cow or like a steam chip or anything, and you're smoking it, you need the spritz because one, that smoke's gonna accumulate on your piece of meat and you're not gonna be able to see that meat. And you don't want to touch it, you don't want to fuck with it, you don't want to like open up your chamber or anything. So that spritz is gonna like clear literally that residue off
Are you
of it.
spritzing through a hole in the grill? Like,
Oh no, I
You lift
I mean
it up real
some
quick?
some people do. Some people are really I open that bitch up and I'm
Wow.
just.
That's intense. I didn't I didn't know that was a thing. Good for you.
I'm just
man.
curious.
Oh my
Like,
God.
yeah.
But there's also people though that like will only spritz maybe like every like hour and a half, 2 hours. Like nah, I'm about that
'Cause,
spritz
like,
life,
yeah,
dog.
it's-
You gotta
Like,
make it count when you do
Yeah.
open it.
You
Yeah,
can't just
yeah,
open.
yeah.
It's like
No, man, and that's why we have the thermometers too.
Exactly.
Because, like, I
That
need
way you
to
don't have to
know.
open it, you know,
Yeah,
it's-
I need
yeah.
to know where the heat and like not that I'm not about like the digital thermometers and stuff, and not,
Right.
like everyone has their own things, but I would rather just keep that chamber closed and not have to like fuck with like apps or anything. Like I just want to walk out to my smoker, see that I need to throw another log in,
Right,
look at
right,
thermometers and be
right.
like, okay, like I know where it's at. And I've smoked enough meats where I can do that. Well, I know it's kind of like, and that's why Traeger is such a fucking like to so many people, because you can get that smoked meat, you can do ribs. I mean, my mom owns
it's so
a
easy.
Traeger.
It's, yeah.
And
mean,
I get it, and it's fucking awesome, and it's cool, and it's great for like the weekend warrior and stuff. But like, if you really, I've eaten Traeger meat, and I've eaten like real true blue smoked meat. World of fucking difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Interesting.
like if you get your average Joe and then you give them a Traeger and then you tell them like, all right, let's
Yeah.
do the real deal. Like they'll taste better on the Traeger.
Yeah.
So for them,
Because
it's like
because it's built in.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
built in. And I get that, and it's like where our culture is moving towards like
The Traeger is
It's
the Kool-Aid for them though. It's like it's
Yeah.
how they get actually into it.
Yeah.
Like
like I
didn't-
said, weekend
okay.
warriors,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't start off with Kyoto style coffee. Like I
Yeah,
just started off with
yeah.
regular ass
Yeah.
drip coffee.
Fuck yeah, you were
And
going to
then I was
Starbucks.
like, oh shit, wait a minute.
Oh,
And then next thing you know, you're fucking making coffee at home, like with a fucking drip going constantly. Like in my house, from like 2013 to 2015, you would always hear. Because
Well,
I had my own dripper at home, fucking slow dripping coffee
And
all day.
I have mad appreciation for that, because I mean I don't have anything going right now, but before we knew we were going to Monterey, like I was fermenting all my own vegetables and all my own fruits and stuff. And, you know, I was making my own kombucha because
because why pay $3 like for a bottle when you can make a whole?
Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
And like it got to the point where like my SCOBY was so thick that we weren't gonna be able to transport it. I had to, yes, baby. I had to throw it out because my wife was like,
that sucks, man.
I was like, my wife was like, our kitchen smells like vinegar. I'm like, that's a good thing.
Like, thank you.
Yeah, I was like, that's a compliment. But no, it was just like, I mean, you can't I can't send a SCOBY to California.
You throw it in the D-High, man.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to get your hotel going, like your SCOBY
Yeah.
hotel and stuff. But I mean, a lot of knowledge that I've gained. I mean, given like there's people like Jacob and like Pietro and stuff who I just like I shave it off of them, man.
Yeah.
Like I follow them around with a fucking like peeler, just like
Yeah.
I just want all this fucking knowledge, man.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff you just gotta go find. You just gotta, dude. You gotta buy the books. You gotta fucking do it, man. And I'm one of those type of assholes where I've been giving away a lot of books lately because we're trying to like dial down and stuff. And like I open up books I haven't looked at in years, you know. And there's like notes and there's like highlights and I'm just like, fuck, I can't give this to anybody. But then you give it to someone and people are like, dude, I would much rather have this and like see where your mind was at the time.
Precisely.
And like
Precisely.
you know, that's why I always buy my books used, like off a line, because there was one time I don't know if you guys ever read Night by Elie Wiesel. It's like the Holocaust book and stuff.
Oh no.
No.
It's literally like it's like 45 pages. It's in a very intense read and it's very intense. Like we read it in high school and then I read it again like this last year and it's a lot different having a kid.
It's kind of like the Viktor Frankl book, like.
Yeah. It's a fucking lot. It's
Yeah.
but the fucking copy I got offline had like all these like notes in it from someone who was like studying it and was like talking about like psychology and like Nazi psychology compared to like Jewish psychology. It was a fucking immense read. And it was only like 145 pages.
Yeah.
So like that's why I always buy used books. But that's why I'm also like trying to like scribble in all my books so someone else can fucking
Yeah, exactly.
cool.
give
Yeah.
that. And I've been dumping a bunch of books in our like leave a book, take a book
Aw.
thing.
Oh,
nice.
Good for you,
Yeah.
dude.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Because I mean, books are I've always been a huge part of my life, and it's just something that I've always been really like. I love books. Like books are fucking great, you know.
Yeah.
And I write shitty short stories about space knights and fucking like space Jesus and stuff. But dude, people are just you can give a book to a person. It's a lot more than giving someone a DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it resonates a lot.
I think
more.
books are more important now than ever because, like, honestly,
We are encroaching on Fahrenheit 451,
Yeah.
dog.
yeah,
Like,
we're encroaching, and then also too, knowledge is just like, it's hard to trust information,
Yeah,
but knowledge
man.
is undeniable, and like if you're willing to put it into a book and like go through the whole process of making that like unerasable. Once it's in the book, it's in a book.
Yeah,
like
especially after you get
can't take it
published.
back.
Because
Yeah.
of what cost of that and
Yeah.
the cost of entry to make a book is a little harder than just making a post on Instagram.
It is, and it's just like once you put the book out there, at a certain point, just through the process, it's like, okay, is this what you want to print and like make?
Yeah, man.
Thousands
And
of copies.
You got
of.
editors. You got fucking people.
People
It's out
are like
there.
hounding you, saying, "Is this what you want in the book?" And you're like, "Yes." Once you commit to that, you can't go back and
man.
bullshit it. Like I see people put out like all these stories, like news stories, whatever the fuck,
On
They-
Instagram,
They
on
get
Facebook,
it wrong,
I'm like, yeah.
and then they just go and erase it, and it's
You
like it
always
never
see-
fucking happened.
You always see it on the bottom of like the articles and stuff where it's just like asterisks. Like,
Asterisk, blah blah blah.
yeah, we fucked up. Like
Exactly.
it's
We
too-
fucked up. It was 2 + 2 is 4, not 18. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's just like some shit where it's right now it's so easy with digital media to just like
absorb
put
it
the shit out
and
there.
not absorb the right thing.
Yeah, and like the first story will reach more people than the correction. So it's like people have abused. I'm gonna ask for forgiveness instead of permission. They've abused that model.
man.
They've abused that model, and now I don't trust a fucking thing, man. I don't trust a thing. Like,
It's a tough thing to hack.
dude, like the only thing I trust now is just like my own wisdom from being on this planet for 32 years and saying, okay, I know it sounds like bullshit and I know it doesn't sound like bullshit.
Right,
So,
right.
like, I'm going to go with that. And I'm just going to be a person who is willing to give a person the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, not be a sucker.
Yeah.
And then just take it from there. And just like know that, you have the right intentions as far as like trying to square everything out.
And things get like oversaturated too right now, because everyone wanted to cry for Amazonia and everyone wants to cry for everything else. Like, I mean, where's the cry for the Bahamas, man?
Yeah, exactly.
The Bahamas
like the Bahamas are erased.
The Bahamas are literally
Erased.
Well, and the reason why it hit so strong. And the reason why the Bahamas hit so hard for us is because before this Monterey job came up, I know we got to just switch the feet, okay? We were actually looking into. I was actually wanting to transfer to Bahamar, which is a huge.
She's got 2 right ones.
I know. I was telling that though. Just let it do it. This one's looser. We were actually looking to go down to the Bahamas, and Hyatt was gonna like pay the full thing a couple months ago, and it just wasn't the right time. My chef was like, come on, man, give the guy a high five.
She's like, nah,
Maybe next
sucker.
time.
But we thought we were moving down to the Bahamas like 3 months ago, because there was like a job opportunity with Hyatt and stuff, and things fell through. It just wasn't like the right time. They weren't offering enough money, and so we were just like, okay, put it on the back burner. Then Monterey came up, and then literally like 3 days ago, it was 18 feet underneath the fucking water.
Yeah, man.
And I was just like, man. And you see these people who are hiding in the attics and shit. I was like, I'm not trying to like do that to my kid, man. Like, it's one thing if I go and do that, like
Yeah,
it's
that's a
dope
whole
and shit.
different
Yeah. Like I can survive on fucking peanuts and piss, but my kid, I mean, my kid needs to live a life.
And that the whole situation in the Bahamas too, like, kind of highlighted something to me, which is like, so there are militias forming in the Bahamas to make sure that people are not stealing things.
It's getting fucking
crazy. Like there are militias forming of residents in the Bahamas, making sure that no one's getting robbed, because there's chaos. Like, the Bahamas were destroyed, so there are people who are like Mad Max, do or die. Better you than me.
And mind you, the Bahamas, I mean, like only has maybe like 60,000 people.
Exactly. It's not like.
No, and 10,000 of those are fucking are like tourists.
Yeah, and then you have like a lot of retirees, all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah, man.
But in any case, they're forming militias down there to keep stability.
Wow.
And like the thing that like, and you can feel however you want about this particular thing, but I'm like, yo, dude, don't fucking touch the Second Amendment, because it's like, if shit hits the fan, I'm not trying to give up my right to protect myself, my family, my friends, like all that shit, man.
You got to be able to cap them. That's why I keep a fucking baseball bat next to
You
my
got to
bed.
be able to form a protective unit that keeps the fucking peace, because you don't know what like we're on a rock that is going around a star.
Yeah.
Okay, like
flying at the speed of
like
light.
we're flying super fast.
Yeah.
Okay, around a star, and you just don't know what the fuck could happen.
And I hate I mean, I love Joe Rogan, and like a lot of people have but like Joe Rogan put the best. We are literally just evolved monkeys,
Fucking aliens
on a fucking organic spaceship that is
floating
literally
through
just
space. Yeah.
That is literally the only reason we're here is because the sun is bigger than us.
Yep.
And because we just got trapped in the pole
orbit
of the orbit. That's the only fucking reason, dog.
But
like,
if the sun just hiccups, like
oh, we're all dead.
like all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, it's like. Or even worse, because
I'm waiting for that. I'm really praying for that.
Dude, because being dead is actually better than what could happen, which is, it just fucks up all of our telecommunications, and we're just like in a Mad Max situation where it's like dog eat dog.
I mean, I
Get a puppy.
wouldn't mind that.
That puppy.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
But
My buddy Aaron, my really good friend Aaron, I used to wrestle with. He's a lieutenant in the United States Navy, and I went to him to Comic-Con, and we were waiting for tacos, and he's very, very right wing, very like,
Oh, okay.
military is like,
Yeah.
military is life, and I get it. Like,
I get it, man.
dude, you need people like that, like, because I do not have a big enough dick to go get on that fucking battle line. I really don't. Like, as much as I fucking think I'm tough, but he was telling me, because you start asking those questions, just like, fuck, man, like, do you like Trump? He's like, yeah, no, fuck no. Like, don't pump attention. But he was like, no, he's a fucking idiot. He's like, but I will tell you what, he's dropped less bombs than Obama did.
Yeah.
I was like, that's real shit. But then he started going into like, to talk about war, and I was like, well, you hear all this shit going on with Sudan and like, Korea. I was like, Aaron, how worried should I be about Korea? And like he started like laughing, and he was just like, dude, he's like, Korea ain't worth shit, man. He's like, you should be worried about fucking China. He's like, China's building islands in the Pacific Ocean so they can watch us.
Dude, he's not even right about that though. Like I mean, he's right about that in terms of that's what they were doing. But here's what you should really worry about: the dollar.
Well, yeah, I mean, we should all be fucking, because the
dollar's collapsing.
Well, because the moment that goes to
Yeah,
fucking
the dollar's
shit, it's all
collapsing.
gonna be,
Yeah.
dude. It's all gonna be fucking.
The dollar's collapsing. Like, as a world standard reserve currency, the
Because
dollar's
you gotta think. I mean, that's
collapsing,
what we all depend on.
exactly
Man.
the stability of
It's
that.
and it's
Piece
wild.
of paper.
And it's not even a paper anymore.
You know,
it's a Google transaction.
It's a ledger entry.
Yeah, man.
And you know,
Credit and debit. Yeah.
here's one of the crazy things that was.
And like, how much money do you think in your lifetime have you've used with that? How many times have you used your debit card?
All
So
the
much.
frickin'
How much?
time.
But how much money in whole? Like between the four of us.
Hundreds of
$1,000.
thousands, hundreds of
Yeah,
thousands.
hundreds of
So like
thousands.
say just like like there's $100,000 sitting between the four of us on our debit cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've used it back and forth for the last like 3 years. No, I ain't never seen $1 of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a piece of gold or a piece of
back-
silver.
yeah,
It's
back
not
and
real,
forth.
man.
It doesn't exist.
not real.
It's a fugazi.
Yeah.
I will tell you what, like everyone wants to hate on like Wolf of Wall Street, but like dude, the moment, what's his name? They keep
DiCaprio or Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort.
No, I'm not even talking about that. His mentor, fuck, what's his name? Homeboy. They're sitting in the thing. And
The
he's
restaurant.
Like, yeah, and it's
What's his
what's his name?
Fuck, I don't know his real name.
Anyway, though.
What?
Yes.
Yes. Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, I was thinking of the real guy's name. not the
No,
actor's name.
no. Matthew McConaughey hit it on the fucking hand, man. It's all fucking fugazi. It's all in the fucking ether, man.
Yeah.
All and so like anytime my wife makes so much fun of me because she's like, oh this I'm like, yeah, it's because it's a fucking fugazi. It's all fucking out there, man. It all exists in the ether.
But it's the truth. Like, think about it.
There's so much shit that happens that we don't see in the fucking because like you think back, okay, this is gonna get really fucking weird. This is gonna get out there. So you think back in like the 1800s, right? Salem witch trials, right? Chick was fucking hot. Chick had huge tits, fucking great piece of ass.
La.
Yeah, I know. But she
Right,
was
right.
she was fucking burned at the stake because like they thought because she was a witch she looked sexy. Like that was a big part of being a fucking witch.
If you deviated, like there was
If
this
you-
whole thing like if you're a temptress, like blah blah blah. If you
and
deviate
if
from
you
the norm,
boil it down, man.
Yeah.
There's shit happened because and shit wasn't seen. It was all the fucking food. It was all
so
in the
much of it
ether.
was like mind games.
Yeah.
Like before. I mean, even now it's mind games, but even back in the day when people were like really like kind of stupid, like as far as like their sophistication, you could just trick people. Like there's this idea that if you went back, like
You stole my dog. No,
Like-
that's
like-
been my dog the entire time. You just had him for a little bit.
like if a really like if a really good magician went back in time, he could start a religion.
And
like, you know what I'm saying?
And I hate Family Guy. Like
Oh, with the Jesus thing, where he's like,
but it's real shit. It's real shit.
yeah.
You can just get fucking faster with your hands.
But
you
here's
can
the
take
thing,
people
though.
for a lot of fucking thing, and it's still the same thing you see nowadays.
it hasn't changed.
You're selling a product.
It hasn't changed.
Everyone's selling a fucking product, and it doesn't matter if it's like actually has like $1. Like
No.
And with Instagram and Facebook and all this other shit, and like these Instagram and like God
I
bless
feel
their
like
souls.
Instagram is like,
Dude, if I was a
low
woman-
key. Because
Salem
we've
witch trials.
mentioned it so many times. I feel like Instagram is like low key the mind control center of our existence right now.
But that's the thing. It's like we're not trying to push anything on anyone.
Nope.
We're just spreading good vibes out there.
We
and
are.
if anyone is attracted to that, that's all they can. They're welcome. But like, we're not pushing anything. No agenda. No.
No.
we're not-
You
But
don't think you
there's
are.
there's a tendency for people to just do it anyway. That's what people call like when you talk about like sheep behavior or herd behavior.
Sheeple.
There's like just a tendency for people to just do it anyway, even though no one's forcing you to do it.
Wake the fuck up.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Dude, in 1987, there was a man, Andre. I always want to say Arlovsky because that was the fighter, but it was Arlovsky.
That's so close.
He did a social experiment. He stood in front of a red door. He stood in front of a red door in the middle of Moscow. Stood there for like 3 hours. After 3 hours, someone got in line behind him. Didn't know what the fuck.
And
he was
people just line the fuck up.
Dude, after 8 hours, there was 180 people behind him, waiting for nothing.
Just because he was standing there.
It's in our fucking mentality,
I mean,
dog.
there was an
It's
experiment-
in-
That's interesting.
There's
yeah.
an
But
experiment done with
yeah.
chimps that proved the same thing.
But that's why Instagram is so successful. That's
Yeah.
why Facebook is so successful, because we want to be part of something that we don't even know.
Bigger than yourself.
Yeah, man. Everyone wants to be
Trends.
Everyone wants to be woke. Everyone wants to be on that fucking ship. Everyone wants to be fucking the first one to be like, Beyonce is the second coming of Jesus and shit. Like, we're a culture that just wants. We are so obsessed with being part of one, but wanting to be by ourselves so hard.
It's hot takes and reaction videos.
And vines.
Hot takes
That's all it is.
because you just want to know what the fuck other people think. You're just
Yeah,
like,
man.
oh, how should I feel about this? It's like the Dave Chappelle joke when He talks about after Hurricane Katrina.
I already know where the fuck
And they
you're
were
going.
like interviewing Ja Rule. He's like, how am I supposed to feel about this? Oh, let's ask Ja Rule. Like, who the fuck cares what Ja Rule has to say about the, it's
But
like.
it's still gonna go out there.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, like, I mean, you see, everyone sees the hashtags and shit. That's why, like, dude, I hashtag my shit on the fucking, like, left spectrum, because I don't fucking
Yeah, you don't
care.
give a shit.
I don't fucking
Sponsor me, 7-Eleven.
Dude, that's all I fucking want.
Dude, I don't
I just want
understand.
free shit. That's all I want. I'm not looking for like a paycheck. No, I want free firewood that I have to spend $60 on every time I smoke meats. I want fucking free meat that I have to spend $60 on every time I smoke meat.
Give me some fucking dried pineapple.
I got
You know
you,
what I'm saying?
dog.
While
I
you're
get
at
that
it.
shit. I get that shit
Dude.
free. I got that shit
Dude.
free.
In 5 years, you're gonna have some rinds going. I swear
Yo,
to
he's
God.
gonna have fucking coconut husk. He's gonna have like
Dude, if I could find them here,
Yeah.
I would fucking.
coconut husk is that shit.
If I could find them for free, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Because I get the pineapple rind.
Move to
Because that was
Hawaii.
actually the original thought I had. I was like, oh, dude, fucking pineapple's hella dry. Like, you have the fucking husk. Like, dude, that shit lights like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no pineapple in Chicago.
Yo, before you know it, I mean,
was like,
like weed's gonna be legal here next year, so
Big
we're
fucking
just gonna
ass.
be smoking meat with weed.
Some smoke.
We're just gonna be smoking it with weed. Like,
Man.
that shit's gonna be crazy. Like when it's legal here.
Yeah, I got like 8 pounds of butter in my fridge, so
Oh,
don't
shit.
you
I should have
fucking...
brought some edibles for you guys. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Oh, I got like 20 edibles in my...
Oh,
Yeah. If you guys want one before you leave, let me know. Like,
Good segue into creative freedom. When you're building your team
where, here or...
in Monterey, all right, how what are you looking for? What qualities are you looking for? Do they need to be like classically trained? Do they?
No,
What do they
no.
need? What are you looking for when you're training?
Common sense. I mean, that's
Is this done in an interview? Like, how do you?
So I honestly, like, I haven't interviewed people in a long time, and the way I kind of fell into interviewing for especially chef positions and cook positions, because it's such a fucking intense progress now, when I was in Louisville. And I remember when I fired somebody, I had 32 interviews for a breakfast cook position. And this is, I mean, I'm not talking about being like a CEO of Google. I'm not talking about like, no, you're making $12 an hour flipping fucking eggs, and I have to do fucking 31 interviews. Like, what the fuck is going on? But you start meeting people, and like, given half of them, I would interview, and then their background check would just be fucked up, you know. And I'm not want to talk about it because like I got my own
It is
bullshit.
what it
Sure,
is,
sure,
right?
sure.
Yeah.
But you have a criteria that you have to.
I don't. Hyatt does.
Exactly.
Oh,
Well, they hold
okay,
you to
okay.
a
Yeah,
certain,
yeah,
'cause it's
okay,
like,
okay.
I would hire you because I don't
How-
really care.
How much creative freedom are they giving you to create a menu?
Well, like, and that's the division too. Like right now, when I was in Louisville, or like going to Monterey.
Now Monterey.
So like going into Monterey, I'm hyped because we have a brand new restaurant.
There you go.
And they literally told me like during the interview, like they need culinary like perspective, and they need a culinary like
Vision, yes.
yeah, like a
Yes.
vision, where I'm just like, buy me a fucking smoker, like spend that Hyatt money on that smoker, you whore. But like when I was in Louisville, like we always had to have the staple of fried chicken, which I mean we talked about, and like that was what it was, but we were able to do like fucking anything else. And I mean, when I was in Monterey the first time, we were doing like wild shit, because I was just like, fuck it, man. I mean, I was just like, dude, the ship's sinking, like, dude.
So you just might as well just
might as well
might as
just
well
fucking
keep playing.
just fucking do
Just
it,
keep
man.
playing while the ship. Yeah.
Like, dude, fuck it all. But
Fucking Titanic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
dude, it was a rough last couple of months, but it wasn't as bad as when I was in San Diego, and I took over this place called Japango, and so Japango was open the year I was born, in 1989. Yeah. And it was a Hyatt staple back in the day. At the like when they opened, there was one in Maui, there was one in San Diego, and then there was one in Vegas and one in Miami. The first one to close was Miami. The second one was to close was Vegas, and then I took on the job in Monterey, or in San Diego, in La Jolla, as like the executive chef of the restaurant, but chef de cuisine of like the hotel. And so I took it on, and when I went in there, they were just like, look, like the lease is up in March, probably not gonna re-sign it, do what you can do, but here's the job if you want it. And they just like threw a lot of money at me. I was like, fuck it, yeah, like whatever, man. Like,
Wow.
I've already been bouncing around long enough, like I don't give a shit. And so went in, I replaced the old chef de cuisine who had been there for fucking 25 years, you know, and the hot food was just aching to be revamped and
Nice.
redoing. And like with my background, like what I was doing at the time, like I really, really have a strong passion for Asian cuisine, and like, and it doesn't matter what, like Chinese, Japanese, Mongolian, fucking Tibetan. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll do the research and like I love those flavors. Like, I love the things coming out, like especially like Southeast Asia, where it's like intensity on intensity on intensity. You got lemongrass, you got garlic, you got like scallion, you got, dude, ganjang. Dude, you have so much coming out, like Korea and like southern China. It doesn't get highlighted as much as it should, but it's fucking there, man.
You got mad fermentations coming out of there,
is it called banchan in Korean barbecue?
Oh, dude, I got banchan in my kit back there.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, how many different flavors in banchan are there in even just Korean barbecue? It's insane.
So with banchan, I mean, you have Korean banchan, and then you also have like Japanese banchan, and the true banchan comes from Japan, and that's the original OG shit, because they started filtering those pieces of charcoal for water. Yeah. Or are you talking about something different?
I was talking about like the appetite, like the condiments.
Oh, I was talking about the charcoal.
Me too.
My mind.
I was thinking about I was thinking about the charcoal as well.
My mind always goes to fire, dog.
Me and him were both thinking about the fucking charcoal.
I was, dude.
So good. I'm just thinking how many different flavors there are.
I'm talking about how much smoke I can put in this motherfucker right here.
Yo, I'm like,
That's all I'm doing, man.
Wait a minute. What appetite?
I was like, what?
The fucking charcoal.
That's what I but
I got you.
No, but when I took over Japango, it was hurting, man. It was just
It's an opportunity for you to shine.
And it was a great opportunity, man, because I took over the establishment and I started doing, and like I was super hesitant in the beginning because I had never done, sushi before.
Yeah.
And the restaurant was like split down the middle, where we had like the hot food and then we had like the sushi. Yes, baby. And we had the sushi, and so because this guy had been like indoctored for so long, I don't know if he felt he was like the end all be all, or he wasn't like really reaching out to other cooks. But like when I got in there, I just like, dude, I started asking people. I was like, what do you want to make? Like, what do you want? Like, what fish do you want to see? Like, cause like, dude, you gotta put your aces in your places. You gotta bring people up. You gotta build.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you have people in your team that want creative freedom and they're unable to express it, they're gonna want to leave, right?
Man,
so like, how do you?
But dude, that's why
involve them in the Do you let them in?
You have to nurture them, and you have to.
You give them a project,
and you let them make their own project.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why like the people that leave the French Laundry are so successful. That's why people that leave Alinea are so successful. That's why people that leave like the Izzard, like Stephanie Izzard's fucking empire, are so successful. Because she's just like, get at it, bro.
And that's like, if you care about it so much, go fucking make something of it.
Dude, there's this kid who's like fucking like 20 who just like won like the Girl and the Goat like Iron Chef, and he was doing like Beat Heart and fucking dude is not classically trained. He's just been working in Stephanie Izzard's fucking kitchen for the last.
He's been absorbing everything.
Yeah, man, and this dude fucking killed it.
Wow.
But that's like building cultures and building people. That's what you have to do. But you got to get the right people though too. You got to get people that will absorb it. People like like the four of us, like people who want to do those things.
No softies.
Yeah, and
basically.
And not only that, like you get people who are just like, like I'm just trying to make my $12.50, and I'm just trying to.
And you'll have those people.
And it's cool, and it's dope, and like you need those fucking people to that.
You just put them in the proper role.
Aces in their places, dog.
Right.
Like you gotta put.
They can still be an ace, but in their place.
Yeah,
I totally get that.
In Kentucky, there was this lady Charmaine. Dude, she was like 65, and all she did was fucking make grits and flip eggs.
Right.
But I fucking tell you what, not one of those eggs were fucking overcooked, and those grits were the same all fucking 4 years I was there. Every fucking day, they were the same fucking grits, man.
That reminds me of a book that I just read.
They were fucking great.
So there's this guy named Daigo Imihara, and he's basically like the first competitive video gamer. So he was like big in the Street Fighter scene when
back
it first
in the day,
became like
Street
a
Fighter
competitive.
2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's this crazy video of him like executing this like just impossible move.
And he does
That's
it.
legendary, right? And he was like, I was watching. This is him saying this. He was watching this interview with this lady in Japan who was making dumplings, and Japan has like an old old culture. So her family legit has been making dumplings in the same restaurant for 500 years.
I call it that old boy shit, dude.
Dude,
it's old boy shit.
She's legit holding down the family recipe for 500 years of making dumplings, and they go and they ask her, what's the hardest part of your job? And she's like, making sure that the dumplings taste the same every fucking day.
Oh man.
She's like, every day I have to make the same dumpling taste the same way.
And no bullshit, like leading off of that and like talking about like San Diego and the place that I took over. So I walked in there, right, and dude, these guys looked at me like I was fucking like insane. And like at that point, I've been to enough places and I knew what I was doing. So like I walked in, I had like a notepad, and dude, the first like week, I just stood in the corner, and just like taking notes, just like, you know, not
They
really
hate
like
it when you do that.
I
Of your
know.
staff.
They hate it when
Yeah,
you do
yeah,
that.
yeah, and just like not really like, you know, like not really talking to a lot of people, like yeah, interacting, you know, like I was brought in, I was introduced, like, you know, like obviously I don't look the fucking
The
great.
part.
I look like a fucking homeless person for real, and so I was just taking notes and just like notes about people,
Yeah.
and that's where like, you know,
Yeah.
that's where you find,
That's all the notes.
yeah,
It's
that's
all people.
because you know that salmon's gonna be the same salmon next week.
Yeah.
That fucking like, you know, that bochon is gonna be the same bochon the next week. That scallion is gonna taste the same. I mean, you know, with the seasons, but it's all relative. But you know what's fucking different every single fucking day is those people.
Mm-hmm.
And if those people have a bad day, or if those people are fighting with their wives or their spouses, and it comes from the same place with me and Alani and Anna, you know, it'll change the taste of your food. It'll change the passion that goes into your food.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Consistency is literally the number one thing. You ask any chef, you ask any person, you ask anyone that's passionate about food, consistency will become the first thing. Because if you can't, yeah, everyone makes good food, but can you do that 365 days a year?
Yeah.
Can you make the same dumpling
Exactly,
for 500 years?
Yeah. It's so funny. Like,
Not a lot of people can.
when I was a trainer at a really popular cafe, like the second largest cafe here in Chicago, that was my job before I left and started my own company. You could tell who was steaming the milk properly
And who
for the
wasn't, yeah.
cappuccino
Based on the sound, right?
by listening.
By listening, yeah.
And
yeah,
I can only hear out of one ear.
Wow.
Okay? And I'm like,
fuck out
One of your
here.
gang?
And I'm walking by, cause like, yo, they fucking, in some ways they hated me, cause I was fresh out of Next.
And you would give him shit.
Dude, I yelled at someone the
Oh.
second
Yeah,
day,
dude.
and they were like, "You can't do that here." And I'm like, "What do you mean I can't do that here? What the fuck are you talking about?" But in any case,
Obviously,
though,
y'all never met Granite Cats.
dude,
You know?
yo, sitting in on a meeting with him, that was a
Fuck,
whole
dude.
That guy's a shogun.
I think that's real shit.
He's a shogun. Like
That's-
I came to that conclusion when I sat in with the meeting with him. I was like, "Oh, I get it.
I
He's
think
a shogun."
I'd have a panic attack. Like
Dude.
if I had to like sit across from him, like I would.
I'm not even
I'd-
gonna say. Never mind.
I would fucking have
Yeah.
like, dude.
But-
And you don't have to share that. Dude.
No,
like,
dude. We'll talk
'cause,
about it
like,
off. We'll talk about it off air.
Because that's
But,
real shit, man. Like, dude.
I respect that guy so much.
When you sit,
He's a G.
and like when you sit in, you know, like reaching distance of greatness, like like, dude, it's just there. There's just
It's
like
there.
It's just there,
It's
man.
there.
And like, not that like Jake's won 3 Michelin stars and stuff, but like when I'm in Jake's presence, whatever he's done in his past or whatever at Stoneflower, you know, like, dude, just watching how he treats ingredients or how he looks at stuff. And I remember like I showed up and I was like, you know, you want to be that guy, and be like, okay, can you show me the menu? Like, you know, where are you sourcing everything? He's like, no, I don't write menus. And I was just,
He fucking got you.
I was just like, the fuck? And I'm like, well, and like, you know, my dumbass, I wanted to be like, you know, like, oh, so where are you sourcing these ingredients? He's like, I live in fucking Chicago. I can get whatever the fuck I want. And I was like,
Dude. He called all your bluffs.
oh, dude, all my
He called
bullshit.
all- 'cause you're trying to kiss his ass.
Yeah, because you want to
You're
show
trying to
up.
kiss
You want to
his
be that
ass.
guy. You want to be like, oh, where are these ingredients?
He's like,
I
what
like
the fuck
it.
are you talking
where are you getting these
about?
chestnuts?
I
And
dig
he's
it.
like,
He's like, wherever the fuck I want. That's where I'm getting them
yeah,
from.
and he's like, wherever the fuck they're fresh right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I live in Chicago. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, man?
dude, I love it.
Because I came out of San Diego, and like going back to like the story before, when I got into San Diego, I took like the sushi head like by fucking force, man, because I didn't know shit. I didn't know nothing, but I bought the knives. I did the thing, and like my first week, I just sat there and just like wrote notes and just did the fucking thing. And then the following week, I had my days off because we were closed every Sunday. God, I wish I could find a fucking job like that again. But I showed up that next Monday, and then like I remember like pointing out the strong people, and literally watched him do prep work from like the corner. Everyone thought I was just gonna stand in the corner again, and I remember this lady Pei was doing prep work, and you know, I just rolled up behind her. I'm like, why are you doing that? And she was just like, What are you talking? I'm like, why are you pulling the pin bones out on the left hand side with your right hand, then pulling them out on the right hand side with your right
Switching
hand?
hands every time.
Yeah, and I was like,
that's a waste of time.
I was like, why? She's like, well, if you pull it this, well, and at first she was just like, oh, it's just how I was. I'm like, no, like, nah, dude, like, why, why? Tell me why. And she was like, no, like, I pull them this way because if you keep going back and forth, it creates a level flesh where you pull the pin bones from. And when you're doing a whitefish, what's that? God, man, I've been out of the sushi game for so long.
Albacore.
Madai?
No, it starts with an H. Fuck, like
Hamachi?
Yes, hamachi, and we sold a lot of hamachi in San Diego because we used to get it fresh off the boats.
She's pulling a hamachi bone in 2 directions.
Yeah, every other pin bone.
Every other pin bone,
yeah.
She's going left, right, or right, left.
But she's going as fast as the dude next to her, Justin, who's just pulling them like one way.
Oh,
but
wow.
She's putting the.
But Justin's flesh looks all like, which literally any other place on the face of the planet,
it wouldn't matter.
It's great. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. But Pay's was just like glass.
Wow,
dude. And I was that moment. That's when I just like scooped her up and I was just like, hey,
hey.
And every time and there was this other guy, John. There's this guy, Solomon. These people that you just like, people who weren't being highlighted and people weren't being like asked the questions that they needed to be, like for last like 25 years. And Pay was a little bit more like having a single mother, having a daughter, having a wife and stuff. The guy before me, Jerry, because like women aren't supposed to be sushi chefs. Like that's like
that's the tradition.
That's an old.
Never
seen
that
there's
actually.
like a
Holy
flat out
shit.
discrimination. Like if you think discrimination in America is bad, go to Japan.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if you think sexism bad,
go to
in America,
China. Yeah.
Go to Japan.
Yeah.
Like that's real sexism.
And to make it a kicker even more, she was Korean.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. It was a really fucking weird thing. So like, I saw that. And I saw everyone else's work, and like everyone else's work was great, but the fact that like Pay did that
Attention to detail
was fucking mind-numbing. Something I wouldn't even like, and I'm supposed to be these guys. I'm supposed to be the fucking boss, and I was just like, I would have never thought of that, because like, dude, her fillet, and then when she started cutting into it and making the cuts for the hamachi for like the sashimi and for like the sushi and stuff, were fucking immaculate. And like,
she was doing it in the same amount of time. That's crazy.
Faster, man. Because she was just about it, man. Like, you get those people who are about their shit,
Yeah.
And so that's when I started, was just like, I started tapping that thread. And come to find out, like Jerry, like, didn't want to, whether he was sexist, he just never, like, tapped into it. And so, like, I started asking.
His loss.
I started asking Pay questions. I'm like, well, so what do you got, like, what do you want? And we started doing this. We had pre-shifts, which, had never happened before. I was like, yo, like, what does everyone want? And I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, no, like, what do you guys want to work with? What do you guys want to fucking do? Like, what do you like? Right. And I pitched it to them the same way I'm pitching it, like funny. Like, there's we're literally using, Hyatt's dollar right now. Right. So why not?
You have to, and that's an unspoken kind of thing of the industry is like when you're getting bankrolled, that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, man.
Because it's like, yo,
you can be experimental.
Here's the thing. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. The differentiator, if you're on that dollar, if you're on that long dollar, is the people who decide like, oh, go ahead and eat out and do bullshit and then just like give us a receipt and then we'll cash you out on that. Just like fuck around on the dollar versus people who are like, yo, let's put you to something that you actually want to fucking do. And it's going to be on the dollar, but you have to actually do something with it.
Right.
And that's the differentiator between, like, what fucking moves and what doesn't.
It can't just be fucking fluff, man.
Exactly.
It can't. You got to come back with something out of it.
Because it's like people will put investment into, like, culinary, like, and they're, like, artistic. Because at the end of the day, a chef is an artist. Like, in their soul, they're an artist. Man. That's why there's a razor's edge between fucking going pro and just being in Skid Row.
Yeah.
Because it's the same shit. It's the same shit that like makes artists like fucking junkies. It's the same spirit.
You need that high. You want that like high, because like, dude,
they're aesthetic people.
Absolutely. And that's why that's why I started smoking meats. That's why I started going to Stoneflower, because the high I get from people being like, fuck, dude, like, this is the best brisket I've ever had in my fucking life. Like, this is the best fucking pork belly. This is the best ribs I've ever.
They're chasing beauty.
Yeah,
man. That's it, man. That's it. They're just chasing beauty.
And when I do it at the Hyatt, I'm doing that, but for like 4,000 people. So out of that 4,000 people, like, one.
But they're faceless.
Undone. And my GM in Kentucky put put nose to fucking grindstone one day where, like, you know, we were going through like a tough time. We were getting like some bad reviews and like Medallion and that kind of shit. And so we had a meeting and she was like, yo, you need to tell them to get their shit together. I was like, what the fuck you want me? And this was like when I was like on my cusp. I was like, we're just fucking doing what we can. We're like, because after I got like that article and stuff, like our like we were doing double amount of covers that we had done before, and I was just like, yo, we're just trying to fuck get through the nights. Like I need more staff, and then you get into FTEs and
They won't let you raise the price.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah. There's so many.
It's an easy way to deal with that. You just raise the fucking price.
Because like you said, because there's someone in the back who's like dumping millions of dollars into like all this shit,
and they just like they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, we're just like nah.
And it's like,
and they don't care about your creativity. They don't care about nothing. No.
But
So,
like, there's like these little hacks you have to create in house.
Yeah.
To capitalize off the fact that they don't give a fuck, but they're bankrolling it.
and the exactly. And the one thing my GM told me, she's like, you know, this is what you need to go to fucking tell them. And she was a psycho. She was a micromanager. She was a bitch. She was just not. She lived in her own, at that time in that place in Louisville, she just like ran her own little fucking world, and she was an awful person. But she
probably got it done though.
But I wouldn't be the chef I wouldn't be the chef I am today if it
probably
wasn't
got it
for
done,
her. But she sat me down and was just like, look, like you need to explain to them, this is your job, right? Everyone shows up, whether you do coffee, whether you do fucking EMT, whether you do whatever you do. You show up, it's 8 hours, you just crunch those numbers. You just turn it over, Every person that sits down at that table is their first time at that table. Every person that sits down to have that fried chicken or have that salmon or have that pork chop, that's their first time for that pork chop. I don't give a fuck if you've done 1 million pork chops. I don't give a fuck if you've fried 1 million pounds of chicken. This is their first time. Make it their first time. Let them have that first time. Yeah, I get it's your job. And if you don't like it, then go fucking flip the garbage cans. She always used to say that too, where it was like,
There's a better way to go about that, though. You know?
I know.
Well,
but
I don't give a fuck.
know.
Like in the chef industry, like I don't give a fuck is the 5 most important words. Like
Same-
as soon as someone says I don't give a fuck, you know,
Same
like some
with-
real shit's
It's
coming.
real, it's real knowledge. Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
a paramedic has gone through millions of chest pains.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
But it's that first person's heart attack, you know? It's
Right.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
That is the truth. But like with food, it's a little bit more intimate. Like it's someone's first dinner, it's someone's date, it's someone's wedding anniversary,
Yeah, right,
it's
right,
someone's
right, right.
birthday, and
Right.
you gotta remember that, man. And when you do it, and when it's a job, you don't want to lose that passion because like everyone wants to fucking be Granite Cast.
So what
you
if
don't
you-
think Granite Cast is fucking burned out?
What if you made a round through the tables? What if you're like, hey,
Oh,
how's
well-
it going? You know, how's your meal and things like that? And-
So I started, and like I always keep harping back to like Louisville, but like what I started doing, like if shit came back bad, like so like say like, you know, we sounded like a New York strip and it was supposed to be medium rare, it comes out medium. I started saying the cookout, go apologize. Go tell them you're sorry.
Woo!
Be accountable for your mistake.
Holy shit.
Because why not? And you know what? The cook that I used to do that shit to, he's down at his ex-sue at the fucking Omni in Louisville.
and few of them came out medium. Like
Fuck yeah.
as just a result.
Oh, dude, after that, and then I had this kid, Brycey, out, I don't even know if that was his fucking real name. He was not a stage. He was kids from overseas.
International.
Yes, but he was a
Foreign exchange.
yeah, but he was like a fuck, dude. I don't know why the fuck I can't think of it. He was from the Philippines.
Okay.
And he came over to do like no, it wasn't a stage. It was like an internship.
Intern.
Internship at American hotels, and like he just so happened to choose like fucking culinary as his focus. Like I felt so fucking bad for
He
him.
ran through the ringer, like.
Oh, dude, I put that kid through the fucking ringer, and now he's a fucking sous chef at
Dude.
like that Manila hotel that has like 7,000 rooms, and he runs the fine dining place.
And I mean, that's the moral of the story. It's like, dude, you get what you fucking put
You're
in.
leaving a
like,
legacy, though.
Yeah, it's like.
And like, dude, you leave those little drops, man. You
Planting
just
seeds.
you just fucking let those people like do their thing. Because I tell you what, 100 of my other cooks are all fucking terrible. You know, they're all fucking awful. But it's those cultures and those things. Because I was so sick of going out to those tables and like explaining shit for shit
It's
that
not your fault.
It is.
Well,
man,
it is and it isn't. It's like,
dude, the
you know?
moment, because like I said, like I don't want to fucking hear you say that's not my job. It's
It
not
is
my
his
fault.
That's why he's
thought
doing
it
what he has to do.
I thought it tasted good. I swear to God, if one more motherfucker tells me that to my face, I'm gonna slap him across their mouth.
It's
Because
like you go. I'm
I
not
don't
paying
care.
you to think. I'm
I don't
paying you
care.
to fucking cook.
I don't care. I don't
You
care
know?
if you think it tasted
Yeah,
good.
It's not what about what you think.
Because I
man.
used to say that shit all the time.
Yeah.
I used to say that fucking all that shit all the time. But like that kid Evaristo, man, like dude, he's the exec sous at the fucking Omni now,
Yeah.
man. And like I remember telling that kid, like, no, you go apologize to that person. I mean, he ain't paying. We're gonna fucking we're probably gonna comp his whole fucking meal. But you fucked up his night, so you need to go apologize to him. Because that's what you miss about
Good
being
for you.
That's the long term win, and
Good for you.
That's the thing about it. That short term loss.
Yeah, they'll remember that.
That's the long term win.
Unforgettable.
That's how you win long term.
Unforgettable.
But you gotta build those structures, man. You gotta impart, because not everyone's gonna get a classical training. Not everyone's gonna get Michelin star. Not everyone's gonna get to work next to Granite Katz and Jacob Bellhop and stuff. You have to build it. If they're passionate and you see it, why not bring them up?
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, they're going to feel like you're fucking like the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
And I rode him way harder than the rest of the cooks because you saw the
potential.
fucking passion, man.
Right,
And I
right,
saw,
right.
and he's got a kid now and he's doing fucking great. And it's just like, fuck, man. But like, I will never forget sending him out to fucking apologize to people for overcooking.
Good for you.
Because we went through we went through a phase where him and Bryce were just fucking overcooking steaks.
Yep.
And it was full and not gonna lie, we had a fucking shitty setup where it was like a broiler and then we had a flat top and that was it. It was like, but it was built as one and the broiler would come out and all you had was over it, but the broiler would heat the fucking flat top. So if like you had shit in the broiler, it would take like, it was a fuck
It was
situ-
like
It was
It
a
was
fuck
like
situation.
a heat sink.
I'm pausing.
I used to tell
Keep
people,
going. You're good.
I used to tell people like, fuck man, like you're just fucking like, why don't we have a normal grill? Like, why can't we fucking have a normal grill? And they're just like, oh no, this is what.
We just don't. We just don't.
We just don't.
Dude, when I worked at Next, we had a door that slammed intentionally in the kitchen. Dude, I didn't realize it was intentional until I fucking got with the program. So the first day I came in for my stage, I come in the kitchen, door slams behind me, boom, and I'm just like, fuck. Everyone in the kitchen looks at me like, why the fuck are you making all that noise? And I'm like, yo, the door fucking slammed itself. And they're like, shut the fuck up, basically. I go, dude.
No, keep going. Yeah.
So it became
That's
this
real
thing,
shit, though. That's
dude.
real-
It became this thing where honestly, like, you're going through and you gotta run up and down stairs and shit,
Dude,
right?
especially at that place because that's fucking
Dude,
built
yeah,
in.
you gotta run up and down the stairs. I remember one day I fucking sprinted up the stairs, and as I'm sprinting, Chef Ackett's opens the door, the back door, and I'm fucking sprinting full speed up the stairs. And when he opens the door and looks me in the eyes, the only thing going through my head is, I'm so fucking happy that I was sprinting full speed when he saw me.
That's real. I mean, that's real. That dude, that's real shit though. I mean,
know?
because like you don't want to look anything less. Like if
I don't want to be sauntering.
You gotta understand, like that is the only 3 Michelin star restaurant in Chicago right
Yeah.
now. So if you are not dumping every single fucking molecule yourself into that, he don't want you there.
He will.
He doesn't want you fucking part of that team.
He will chop you to pieces in front of everybody.
I know. Because I've read his autobiography a million times.
But that's what it is, you know.
and that's just like, I mean,
You're
that's-
welcome to leave though.
Absolutely.
But
At
the
any
same
time.
though,
At any time.
Yo, at the same time though, the benefits were incredible.
I know.
The pay was really good.
Dude, the Linear Group does great things for the cooks.
Dude,
For real.
not only
For
that,
fucking real.
Like, they are just on top of everything. And then the fucking parties they threw, like, were crazy. Like,
That's- dude.
you know, like the holiday parties were amazing. Like,
man, I
everything was
I
good.
knew you loved coffee, man. But I didn't know you fucking were part of the fucking.
Bro, I
Linear Group.
was adopted into that world. Like,
God,
I wasn't even planning on being there, but the opportunity popped up, and I was like, fuck, man, this is a real chance to nut up, like, because I come here and I feel completely inadequate, so it's time for me to just fucking do it. And I was like, I love that inadequacy that they make me feel. They make me feel like I'm a piece of shit, and I'm gonna just go in there and just show them all what's up, man.
But
You know?
like I said, it doesn't always have to be like that anymore.
It is what it is, man. You know, I just fucking, you know, that's how I like to do it, so.
I didn't realize it was already fucking
Cool.
6, man.
It's 6, you motherfuckers.
Bro.
All right, we're gonna wrap
Yo,
up.
it's been 3
Yeah,
and that's like after.
yo, I think
longest interview ever.
this thing turns into a pumpkin, so we gotta get up out of here before it rains, actually.
Oh shit.
Because
What?
it may rain.
Yeah.
Well, like I told you though, I was like, dude, you're gonna have to like, dude, like on the show.
I don't-
on the show.
You know, I love the flow. You know.
Outro? You got an outro for us?
Yeah,
What we
yeah,
got?
yeah. Thank you guys for paying attention. Stay curious. Aloha. Where can we find you, Logan?
You can find me at Zeph_Hawaiian on Instagram,
Okay.
and that's basically the only thing I use.
Cool. Really? Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank you for staying tuned. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Once again, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for coming over, and thank you for taking the time out of your day, and
No, thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's very
Hell yeah.
far and in between that you can get your story out there.
Thanks,
Can
Nailani.
you say bye? Say bye to the...
Bye.